What is going on, Keith? How are you?
Yo, today's the best day of my life, Ben. How you doing?
Today is the best day of my life, and I want to see who's in the chat with us so I can say hello, and we appreciate having y'all here. So we got some legends in the chat, as always. Dave Washington, what up, chat? We got Trev Stew, party time. We got Zach Cunningham, ahoy.
What's
Ahoy.
good?
Just in time for lunch break. Super grateful for this platform. We're super grateful for you, Cass Media, or Cass Made It, sorry. Night of Sun, hello all.
Let's
And
go.
Robbie J. Davis, hello. So Keith, we're talking some fun stuff today.
We're talking a fantastic topic. In fact, it's just something that I think, are going to be able to absolutely crush the conversation on, man.
Yes, man. Today we're going to talk about a few things, but the primary two topics are going to be the Bitmine partnership with Beast Industries. And so Beast Industries is the parent company for everything that MrBeast touches and builds. And so within that whole media ecosystem, they are essentially the access to retail. And so Bitmine is the largest Ethereum treasury company. And so them throwing $200 million at MrBeast is an incredibly big deal when we're constantly saying that the reasons the markets haven't moved is because retail isn't here. And so if everyone is positioning Ethereum as the Wall Street blockchain, the retail blockchain, you got to have people using it. And so I broke this down also in our Substack. So if you want to check that out, it's linked down below, memesandmarkets.com. But I want to dive deeper into it, explain what I think will come from it, what it could mean for your bags and all that stuff. And then we'll also talk about the tokenization of Wall Street as well. You've talked about this. Was this not your most recent video?
Yeah, today's video, actually. That's correct.
Amazing.
Yeah. Also, I want to take a second because I know we got a pretty diverse audience. Let's talk about who MrBeast actually is.
Fair.
Right?
Great call.
So MrBeast, Jimmy, is what the people in the industry call him, is a super hyper famous YouTuber. He's got, I believe, the most subscribers of anyone on YouTube, correct?
I believe he passed, one of these, like, I think it was like an Indian account that did really, really well. And it was always a back and forth where, will they pass them? And he did, I believe.
I still find it so fascinating how YouTube famous someone can be and be completely unknown to the rest of the world. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
Like he's not Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? But he's the Michael Jackson of YouTube.
I don't know. He's crossed platforms for sure.
Bro,
on a global scale, he's probably close to Michael Jackson.
Maybe on a global scale. Maybe that's what it is. Because I feel like if he went down the street, bro, like no one knows who he is, bro.
You're on crack.
The kids do.
But because of that, everyone does.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Bro,
I don't have kids.
Look at the numbers for how many people, and of course, I'm sure there's twisting and like making these numbers sound way better than they actually are. But when MrBeast was talking about it, or was it even Tom Lee? They're like, 1 in 10 people have watched a MrBeast video within the last month.
Yeah, 90 days is what it was.
90 days. Okay, I think that's crazy. There's no. Can that be true?
It's definitely possible. But so the way that I look at that is this, right? So his reach, untouchable, right? Like there's probably very few brands that are getting that kind of reach on a global scale, but definitely people. But do people know who he is though?
1 in 7. Maybe not. Maybe. So I get what you're saying, and I can agree with people in the chat saying like MJ is so much bigger. Yes, maybe the brand itself and the person, but in terms of exposure to people, I don't think it's close. I think MrBeast is probably bigger. I think he probably touches more people far more consistently. So yeah, like I think MJ is far more talented, far more iconic, and the name and the brand is obviously synonymous. But I do think MrBeast reaches a crazy amount of people, which is really what the whole point is. So Carl saying that means 9 have not. Okay, like you could say about literally anything, bro.
True,
like
though. That's true though.
Yes,
because for Michael Jackson, would it be 9? Like no, it'd be
way.
Like 3 people out of 10 don't know who that is. You know what I mean?
Know who that is, but consume their content though is a different equation.
That's true. That's a really good point.
That's the whole point of like name doesn't have that much relevance unless they have media behind it to spread a message. And someone else also said he's paid for by the WEF and Amazon. I think it was Carl as well. And that's like, you can't dispute that. He's got a friggin' TV show on Amazon Prime, right? He's got all this stuff. And so when you sign this deal, like rigged money don't lose.
Facts.
right? And so if they're signing a deal with Bitmine, then I just am hard pressed to believe that Ethereum could fail.
That's going to be super cool to see how this plays out. So, real quick, I just want to show people the YouTube channel. So, this is Mr. Beast, 462 million subscribers. He's got, 100, no, 108 billion views. Am I tripping? No, 108 billion views. He does these like little challenges and things that, get people to watch, and
So
click. And
the thing with everyone who doesn't watch something is they always extrapolate like their experience to everything else, right? So they're always like, "Oh, well, none of my friends have watched it." It's like, okay, it's
yeah.
really not all that relevant. And if we're talking about a world where everyone is like 7 degrees separated from each other, if you just speak to the people who are watching Mr. Beast content, you basically touch the whole world.
I want to also double down on this thing that you were saying about like being known versus having their stuff being consumed. Because I think that's actually a really powerful and important thing to think about because that also applies to brands and like people who are like in like financial companies and stuff like that. Like you don't need to know who Jamie Dimon is, right? For
Mhm.
him to be able to have incredible amounts of influence over the world,
Yeah.
right? So I think there's kind of a play to that too. Like Jimmy's hands, as far as in the content game, is in a lot of stuff. The things that he can influence with just having a product placement in the background, like changes things a lot differently than like it could be for some other people in the world. So, anyways, just wanted to point that out and double down on that too. So we can move forward and talk more about Bitmine itself if you think that's the best way to
Sure, we can do that.
take it.
And Mad says we are his target audience, but we are if you don't watch his content, then I wouldn't say you are. Um,
Yeah, it's
I
that's why I
honestly
felt
go
the
ahead.
need to say who he is, because I feel like a
Great
lot of
call.
people here, like, it's not like, we're not I don't watch that stuff, you know what I mean?
I honestly don't even find it entertaining. Like when I watch his stuff, I'm kind of shocked by the sheer number of views that it has.
Mhm.
But so who knows? Like, obviously the production and everything that he does is very talented, but I've never found the content all that appealing. But Carl is speaking to the production value of his content. Yeah, it's gotten absolutely mental in terms of how much money they put into every single video. It's full on TV and movie sets. But great point, Keith. We'll move on to Bitmine. So Bitmine is a Ethereum treasury company. So I'm sure most people here have heard of Strategy, which is Michael Saylor's company, who accumulates Bitcoin. And you probably know this better than I do, Keith, in terms of how they get more. Do you want to explain it?
Yeah, to the basics of it is that he's raising money. Michael's strategy, excuse me, Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, which is now Strategy,
Yeah.
is a Bitcoin treasury company. And the goal of the company is to get as much Bitcoin on its balance sheet as possible, to acquire as much Bitcoin as it can. And it does this by raising money from investors. They raise money in two different ways. They raise money in the form of debt and they raise money in the form of equity to do this. And what that means is that either I'm getting a loan from you to go out and buy Bitcoin that I'll pay interest on, or I'll raise money in the form of equity where I don't have to pay you back, but instead you're looking for the appreciation of the price of the stock that I'm selling to you to go up.
Mhm.
So that's the basics of how Michael Saylor has done that with strategy. And now
Yes.
Bitmine is Tom Lee and some others doing this for Ethereum.
Great explanation. Thank you for that. So why Ethereum is actually probably a better asset to do this with is because of the staking mechanism that's built into it, right? So you have that huge advantage from holding a lot of ETH where you earn ETH from simply holding the underlying asset, which gives you a huge advantage to do these kinds of things that we're talking about, which is also why Tom Lee took a lot of heat for this partnership. Because if you're going to throw $200 million for a media partnership, everyone who is an investor in this is thinking, why aren't we buying $200 million worth of ETH? Right? Which is a totally fair thing to consider. And Zach has a really good point here. So, byproduct of the brain rot era. Yeah, he kind of, if you actually think about it, like obviously Mr. Beast can't be like it's not his fault why he did this, but he did create brain rot almost. Like the Mr. Beastification of everything, right?
Yeah.
That's why when I was running my YouTube agency most aggressively, everyone would always want more and more and more edits, right? Because they're, oh, Mr. Beast has the most views, so signal versus noise kind of thing. Like, oh, people are watching it because of these edits. It's like, no, man, they're watching it because he spent $1 million in this production. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If I throw more motion graphics, it is not going to give you the same amount of views, right? So, what's up, Shayla? Appreciate having you here. So with the partnership, why I think it does make a lot of sense is because if Tom Lee and their whole thesis is that they believe that this whole world that's going on chain, and I want you to explain the tokenization stuff after this, because I think that will double it down because it's probably going to be using Ethereum as well. But
Hmm.
if they believe that this is the future that's going to be built on, then you need usage for that thesis to come to reality. And you actually I tweeted this last night, but I should give you credit for it because you're really the one who planted the seed in my mind, where you explained how the oil companies really needed Ford, right? You're like
Yeah,
oil wasn't, it was a thing, of course, but like it became a thing when the car became a thing, right?
100%. That was John D. Rockefeller's thing. So quickly on that, right?
Yeah, please.
John D. Rockefeller was a billionaire right before, or rather, he was worth hundreds of millions of dollars right before the invention of the automobile. But like two-thirds of the wealth that he actually had in his life came at the very end of his life when the automobile became a thing. Right.
Hmm.
So that was the thing that made him like this mega billionaire. It wasn't even until the end of it all. He was already like super rich. Don't get me wrong.
Of course. 100%, right? And so when you think about that foundational change for how really the automobile kickstarted the like crazy demand from everyone needing oil, right? Like 'cause then the whole lives were built around the movement that came from a car, systems, cities, structures were all built around this very thing. And so Tom Lee's whole thing, and a lot of people have been pushing the ETH narrative. They've always said it's digital oil. It's digital oil,
Hmm.
right? And so they've really just been waiting for their car.
Hmm.
And so between what I would imagine they're building to push through this partnership and then the tokenization stuff for Wall Street that you'll explain later, I think they're screaming that like the car is here or the car is coming.
Yeah, man. I think that's a really, really good point. And so Wall Street, right, has been very all of the stuff, a lot of the news that you'll see coming out of Wall Street and tokenization and talking about blockchain, almost every single time it has something to do with some version of Ethereum,
Mhm.
right? And that's for the past 10 years that we've heard about this stuff.
Great point.
BlackRock, all the banks that have been playing and tinkering with this stuff, it's always on some version of Ethereum.
And why is that?
I mean, it's a good question. I think there's two major reasons, and Tom Lee will point this out as well. One of them,
Mhm.
it's the oldest, longest standing smart contract platform. Tom Lee pointed out that it's never gone down per se,
Mhm.
which is actually a really important thing to think about when you look at other chains. I don't think any of them can say that. If you look at XRP, don't get mad. It goes down sometimes. If you look at Solana, come on, don't even
That's
try me.
They
That
call it
thing
the
goes down
cartridge,
every
right?
month.
Yeah, you gotta blow the cartridge and put it back in. That's the joke they always make for Solana. And Cardano used to be able to say that it had never gone down, but there recently was a very short outage, like a month or
Wow.
two ago.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it actually was a great example of showing why it being built the way that it was a pro because they were able to solve the problem with no real issues.
Mhm.
And so it's like basically saying if something was actually serious here, we still would have been able to avoid it. But they can no longer say that. And they used to say that
That's
all the
funny.
time.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So the truth is now, Ben, the truth is that all of them will at some point because
Yes.
of the nature of and this is my whole thesis on all of blockchain is that you need to have because when Ethereum is being used at that scale, it's going to be dealing with different kinds of pressures. And the engineers and the developers are going to have to deal with different types of threats and
Mm,
things that they haven't built the chain to do yet. It's just going to happen.
totally.
So, with that being said, there's always going to be a need to have a different layer where the
Mhm.
actual settlement of transactions are happening. And maybe not where the settlement is happening, but where the transactions can be organized. Right. I need to do this off chain, brothers and sisters. I'm really sorry, but it has to happen off chain because there's always going to be the threat that the chain actually goes down. And if we're talking about mission critical opportunities, we're talking about money that has to move from one place to another. I cannot rely on some third party to make sure that that's going to happen. I have to have a system that makes sure that it will happen no matter what. And this is why interoperability and any solutions that sit on top of blockchains are so, so important. Don't sleep on that. But anyways, yeah.
It's crazy to think about how obvious I personally think a lot of these things will look in like maybe let's say even 5 years time, right? Like I'll zoom out even longer than I actually think, where it'll look back and people when there's so much noise and fear going on, people can't really understand shifts that are taking place, right? And you've brought up that recurring principle that you brought up over the last 30 seconds, maybe a dozen plus times on this show, right? And it's crazy how a lot of people still don't really get what you're saying after hearing it this many times. It just goes to show you how many times you can get lost in a headline and miss what's actually happening, which is really what we're trying to talk about on this. And I think this episode in particular is a really great episode to do that. And someone here has a really good comment here, Johan's Winter. So someone said that in the new financial system, ETH is the platform, XRP is the pipelines, and BTC is the digital gold. Is that a fair description? I don't think that's bad.
Yeah, I think that's a really beautiful way of looking at things. Because there is a certain value. And so Ethereum, another thing about Ethereum being used as the fundamental layer for a lot of the stuff that these institutions have built out is that there's this thing called the Ethereum virtual machine as well.
Mm-hmm.
And almost all smart contracts, almost all of them are built using the Ethereum virtual machine or some version of Solidity as the code, right? To implement the actual logic that's needed to create these smart contracts.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that you have to use Ethereum, right? But it just, when the whole industry standard, this is like the NVIDIA thing. Like when the language that's being used to code the hardware of those chips is CUDA or whatever it's called for NVIDIA, like it doesn't mean that you have to use NVIDIA's chips, but it just means that they have a certain grip over the industry.
Totally.
Google and their what's the Google Chrome platform called again? I've just recently on the show had learned about that. Point being, you've got these open source technologies, and the Legos of how it all comes together will continue to develop. But when you've got a critical piece like the actual language that's being used or the virtual machine that can sit on top of any blockchain and be used to execute on, that thesis that you talked about, I think is very interesting. You use Ethereum for the actual development of the smart contracts themselves. You might have some of the transactions being settled on the XRP ledger, and then the gold that's in the background is always there as a way that you can store value in this entire digital space without having to use it to settle trillions and quadrillions of dollars of securities transactions. I'm sorry, Bitcoiners. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. And that's foundational knowledge that's really important to understand. And speaking on Ethereum, so I actually have a lot of experience with the Ethereum blockchain because most of the NFTs that I've traded have been with Ethereum. And when things were going crazy with the NFT mania, the gas fees on that thing were just absurd. Like I was spending hundreds of dollars to make a transaction for something that was like the same price as the gas fees,
Right.
which was a crazy thing. And that's also why layer twos became a massive thing for Ethereum. Can you explain what like a layer two is?
Yeah, I mean, there's different approaches to how you do a layer two, but you can kind of think of it as so you have layer one being the blockchain itself, and then you have these like mini blockchains or mini systems that are used to accumulate transactions in one place before you actually send all of those transactions into one larger transaction on the blockchain. It's kind of how you can look at a layer two.
Got it.
Um, there's different approaches. There's roll ups. There's that's usually the main thing that's being used, which is that concept of like rolling transactions up into larger
Totally.
chunks of a
Yes,
transaction.
absolutely. And that was a big deal because of the gas fees that I was referring to, where it would be
Mhm.
really slow and very expensive. And so they try to take some of the pressure off of the primary layer one by these layer two solutions. But now Ethereum, because it does evolve, right? People forget that these things aren't set in stone. They're code. They can be improved. And now the gas fees have come down pretty dramatically. Like I heard someone doing a transaction the other day for like literally pennies. And so that
Mhm.
changes the equation too, because a lot of people had made pretty foundational bets on the necessity for layer twos being like the primary driver.
Yeah. Yeah.
And go ahead.
I think that's a silly, I mean, let me
Bet.
just say it this way. Yeah. Like that's a tough bet because first off, do you need a layer two when you can always update the chain? And then which layer two? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're really getting into the weeds of trying to pick a winner
Yeah.
inside of a winner inside of a winner. And it's like, brother.
So many things that can go wrong,
Yeah.
right? You don't have any sort of foundational control over any of that. But it's important to explain all this stuff because these are all what goes into why Ethereum has kind of been selected by a lot of these legacy people to build upon. And what do you think? Where do you think makes sense to go continue down? Should we go down more MrBeast, or should you start talking about the tokenization stuff?
I'll talk a little bit more about tokenization and like some of the efforts that some of these companies have done in the past so far.
Sounds good.
So BlackRock.
Mhm.
BlackRock launched the UST Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund called the BIDL Fund. And this is a tokenized money market product backed by US treasuries and cash instruments. Now, this is kind of something that's happening more in the background as these institutions are building in their own silos and like testing stuff across their own networks with each other. Some of this stuff you can see public transactions for. This one in particular, I believe, has billions of dollars in assets under management. I think this is actually launched on several different chains: Ethereum, Polygon, Arbitrum, and maybe some other ones as well. um, Another thing that I see here in my notes is like the custody and the audit of this fund is including some major firms like BNY Mellon. Okay, it has a hand in a lot of this stuff. I'll touch on some of that later. And then you have PricewaterhouseCoopers. And the only reason I'm mentioning that is because these are some of the most powerful and important institutions in the world, and they're involved heavily in all of this. The second big one is we had JP Morgan Chase with the tokenized money market fund. Um, which is just an institutional money market fund that they tokenized. Um, you've got Franklin Templeton that has some on-chain mutual funds. Um, let's see. And then now we know about what the New York Stock Exchange is trying to do. But in general, you see a lot of the larger banks at the very minimum playing around with this technology, and a lot of it's being done on Ethereum.
Mhm.
Uh,
Totally.
the other thing that I'll point out is because we're talking tokenization, we've got tokenized securities. Okay. And that's one major thing that's happening. And securities are essentially your stocks and your bonds. You have different forms of securities. You have options. They're technically securities as well. And securities are just, financial instruments that are meant to represent either a debt or an equity that you have ownership in. And there's legal definitions of securities that are important to use when you're just finding, you know, people issuing securities is another important thing. And there's also this is a little bit nerdy, but in US law, you have two different considerations when it comes to securities. Is the instrument being bought and sold a security? And
Mhm.
is the transaction in which these things are whatever's being traded is being traded, or is that transaction a securities transaction? And the reason that matters is because, well, you saw it with Ripple. Like this was the exact thing that they went to court to figure out, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like this is the foundational piece of securities law is the difference between a transaction versus an asset.
Mm.
And so and this is what they figured out, right? So the Ripple XRP, excuse me, the XRP token is a commodity, right? But the transactions where they sold XRP to institutions in the way that they did, that was a securities transaction because there was an investment. There's laws around how you are able to sell assets, and that's why. And it's deeper than what I could tell you off the top of my head. So, anyways, just want to put that out. Sorry for that.
No, don't ever apologize, man. Go for those all the time. Usually the best stuff, so don't stress. I wanted to shout out this comment from the chat before we continue on. Keith, I've been listening to you for 3 months and feel way more well-rounded from the financial point of view. Ben, been watching this podcast for 3 weeks now, and the two of you are rock stars. Please keep it up. Appreciate you tremendously. Keith is an absolute legend. Keep showing him support on his channel, and we
Thanks,
appreciate
guys.
having you guys here. And then, can someone tell me how MrBeast is likable? That's what I was laughing at when, yeah, I'm sure he's probably a good guy. I don't know. He does a lot of good things, but they're always like for views. So it comes down to like a viewpoint kind of thing, right? Of course, there's a net positive. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if he's likable. I think his content is watchable.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect way to explain it. I think if he had a podcast, I think the viewership would be
Oh yeah,
horrible,
yeah,
right? It would probably start off crazy and then,
yeah, yeah. Like he's able to talk YouTube. People will
yes.
listen to him talk YouTube.
But you can only talk about that so much to so many people.
Yeah,
Right? Like there's not that much of
yeah.
an audience for it. The reason why it works is because he only goes on podcasts every so often. And I had a point written down here because I think you guys are all like on the money, right? In terms of like who he is, the influence that he has, who he is compared to other more famous figures that like we all would like and look up to and we all agree that we love. But when it comes to just getting people to do something, they just need to know something exists. And I
Mhm,
don't know if
mhm,
there's been a
mhm,
better person in history to get something silly in someone's hands,
mhm, mhm.
right? And so with this, right, whatever, I guarantee you, for you to throw this much money at him, they've got that thing planned at the
Oh, yeah,
very least, if it's
facts.
not already built.
Also, for him to accept the money, that's the
True.
thing that I'm the most surprised by.
Why is that?
Because like, he doesn't first off, he could raise money from anyone, right? He could raise money from any private equity company in the world. I'm sure he has some other private equity backers, and he could
Probably.
raise billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So why in that position with any startup, right? Like, why are you taking money from Bitmine,
Yeah.
right? That means there's a grand plan, brother. No doubt.
100%. I love that way of thinking. That's awesome because you always got to think that it's always deeper. It literally always is. And typically, people who are rigging the game, they don't lose. And so, if you look at everything that's involved and everyone who's building here, I'm just really hard pressed to believe that ETH doesn't go crazy. I think what's happening, like it's insane. I really think that the price is so dramatically underpriced. It's not financial advice, but just think about the things that are being built, right? When there wasn't even 1/100th of these things happening last cycle when the price was higher, right? Like
Right.
the speculation last cycle was that this might happen. It's happening and the price is lower? Like that just makes no sense to me. I get that we're all poor, but I just think that it's going to look back and be so obvious. And so I also tweeted this last night where when this kind of foundational shift happens, the example that Keith gave us with the whole car thing and how that changed the whole global economy, but especially the anchor around oil.
Mhm, mhm,
What are adjacent things that are going to benefit from this very likely to happen change, right? Where are the gas stations? Right?
mhm.
Like where are the different things that now exist, the economies that have now been built from this change? That's why my whole exposure to ETH is ETH NFTs. Because I really see like each ETH NFT that I have is kind of like owning a gas station in here, right?
Mhm,
Where
mhm.
like, and this is what you all need to understand, right? Is that if ETH goes insane, then everything that's built in ETH is also instantly cooler, right? Because the rich people all hold it. And so it's like, how can I explain this? I'm trying to think of things where I can attach it to real world examples, but it just makes the whole dynamics of everything completely change because how it's viewed is completely different, right? Because if ETH does become the thing, right? Everything that was built early on it becomes like extra cool because the people who built on there were right. Right. So like
100%.
crypto punks, I honestly think those things will be like $1 million each very soon. Seriously, dude.
The thing that I will say that you've definitely helped me to understand a lot better is that economy, right? Because we have to think about who are those people, right? Who are the whales in Ethereum, right? What is the psychographic of that person? That person will buy a JPEG, right? It's not
Mm,
about what everyone else
doesn't
is
matter.
doing.
Yeah,
It's the people with the money. Same thing for the rest of the world, the way that the world works today.
totally.
Like, we don't give a fuck about Mona Lisa.
Yeah, but
You know what
somehow
I'm
it's
saying?
for whatever reason, it's worth millions of dollars or billions of dollars, who knows, right? It's, people don't trust NFTs the same way, though. You don't have to, right? Because if the
Yeah.
whole ecosystem that it's built around is gone crazy, that means the people who are holding these things in turn became rich, right? And so then now they go even more crazy. So I also think another person who's gotta be somewhat on the inside of these conversations is Gary Vee, and he's now getting very loud on
Mhm,
social
mhm.
media
I
about
saw that.
NFTs again, right? He's
Mhm.
going into all these different rooms and spaces, which is something that we should really do. I'd love to take a pulse check. Are you guys on Twitter? Like for in the chat, do you guys use Twitter much? If so, follow us on Beams and Markets, and if we can get people there, we would do a space for sure. I think that'd be a lot of
Yes.
fun.
Yes. Yeah, we're considering doing a Twitter Space, and so if you guys are on there, then we'll definitely start running some of those too.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, so I think I just got my mom on crypto. That's hilarious. I've had my mom on crypto for a long time. She's like her only friend that owns any of these things. She's like, "I don't tell them, Ben, because they think I'm crazy." And I'm like, "Yeah, probably a good call." But someone she knows bought like Bitcoin early. We're talking like $100 Bitcoin.
oh, wow.
Yeah. And
Whoa.
so she's a few people know she's not crazy, but yeah, if you guys would want to see a space, we would love to do that. And that's also where what I would love to do is I would love for you guys to see more perspectives on crypto and NFTs that's off of YouTube, because every little platform is its own echo chamber, and people who watch YouTube content aren't that active on X. And so X is really where the front lines are for crypto. Heard that's where you got to be if you're missing out. Yeah, truthfully, if you're a creator, it's also something that, as someone who studies every platform, I realize that the only platforms, if you're doing something, that are worth spending any time on are YouTube and Twitter. YouTube for consumption, Twitter for consumption and connection in terms of meeting people. But it's so funny because Twitter is basically a massive pissing contest, because the people that are on there have done something, right? If they have any following, they're hyper successful and their ego is probably pretty large, right? So they literally give away free sauce 24/7 because it is a pissing contest.
That's an interesting way of putting that too. Yeah, and it is definitely Twitter. Whoever said, I love that you still call it that, because it is Twitter.
I'll only ever call it Twitter. Even if friggin' Elon Musk was on my show, I'd call it Twitter.
I slip up from time to time. Just, there's a little bit of conformist in me. I slip up, but it's Twitter.
It's Twitter forever, bro. I hate that change, man. I loved that logo too.
Yeah.
I thought that was an iconic logo. The little tweet. I thought that was so good. And the whole X has really always been his plan to build the everything app. So I get why he did it, but where the trolls come to play. Yeah, Twitter is also incredibly trolly. Like, the more that we grow there, that's the only place where we will start dealing with hate.
Yeah, see, I'm so scared of Twitter. Like, I started posting my videos on Twitter. I'm like, I know that people are gonna like, they're gonna rip me apart.
But who gives a shit, dude? Like, it come from like, it's also like why Charles quit Twitter, is because if you have a high degree of empathy, that's the worst platform you could ever spend real time on, because it's the lowest, and it also has the most active community of rage bait people, right? Like, most of the people have built their audience on there from rage baiting, right? Like, they're professional rage baiters that actually make money from it. Most rage baiters on other platforms, they're not getting paid for this. It's ego shit, right? Like, oh, I got this many upvotes on my comment. There's no compensation there. But now when the Twitter pays you for views, the better that I rage bait you, I actually get paid. So Twitter literally created professional paid rage baiters. So on that platform, you basically have bots or like pro rage baiters.
That's real, man. That's real. That's real. Because, I mean, that's the stuff that's always like the most, like the guys that are just posting all day and that are getting paid to do it. It's usually like political stuff, honestly.
Yeah, and usually they're bots from like India and shit. Did you see that?
No,
bro. So when they did this update where it exposed where the page was from, most of these right-wing pages were from India or Pakistan.
Whoa,
yeah,
that's crazy.
It's nuts, dude. And it also exposed a lot of other stuff that I won't dive too deep into. You can go do your own research, but it's definitely the place to be. Also, because it is a pissing contest, one of the skills that we've talked about a lot, we should try to do a full episode on this, is like discerning who is worth listening to and how to like channel that and find that. Because once you figure that out, since everyone's just a big pissing contest, determining who's worth listening to while they're doing a pissing contest is like absurdly valuable. Right? Because when you can detect signal from noise from these creators, and understand it's not follower centric at all, right? Like that's how I found and how I learned the NFT game, was everyone who was yapping about it, and like they would basically say out loud the trades they were making. So I basically reverse engineered their wallets. So I would go and follow everything that they did and see if they were actually making money or if they were full of shit. So they were doing this in Clubhouse spaces and they were doing this on Twitter as well. And so I basically I was in these rooms because I was the social media guy in a lot of these rooms. And so most of these people, they just randomly came in like hundreds of thousands of dollars, Keith, right? So it was a very weird time. And so I basically learned who were the insiders, because I was like, there's people who just caught the wave and got lucky, but who are the people moving the wave? Like who's got the ship, or like the power, the directed energy weapon? Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's essentially what the NFT market is. And so through doing that, I was able to like see, okay, there's not that many people skewing this thing, which is why I was able to start picking the winners, was because I was like, it's rigged games. Do you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But we've had a lot of, I want to say hi to everyone in the chat. Sorry, I was just going nuts there. Tight of CPT, my first Memes and Markets live. Welcome. It's the big day.
Let's go.
We're happy to have you. I just listened to who I resonate with and who articulates well. That's where I started following Keith. Keith is a fantastic follow on Twitter as well. So go show him some love. I love when people shout you out on Twitter, man. Like when people are just like It's fucking sweet.
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, guys, thank you," because yeah, I'm not super active on there, so people shouting me out and, like, people post my videos to Twitter and, like, say, "Follow this guy." I'm like, "Oh, guys, thank you."
They should, dude. No,
'Cause
man,
yeah,
what
it's
what you're doing
tough
is
in
awesome.
being a video person, on Twitter. It's not really
Dude,
doesn't work that well.
Twitter's why it also destroyed Charles. And fun thing, Charles has only been off Twitter for like 2 weeks and he looks 10 years younger, bro. It's crazy, dude. I was like, wow, this stuff was aging you. And when we finally have him on, I was gonna say, like, dude, you care too much. You're too nice to be on there. Like, they know
Mm,
it's like when the super nice kid at school happens to run into bullies, and then so he's actually trying to help them, but that gives the bullies more ammunition.
right.
That's essentially what was happening here, but the
Mm.
bullies were getting paid, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
it's definitely interesting. I don't want to miss too many things here. Twitter is the biggest hate platform ever. It's kind of gross. It is, but I just assume every reply is a bot. And so when you go through, you just don't get any sort of emotional reaction to this. And then you can just pick out what's important to you and ignore all the other bullshit. So joining all the Discord channels during that time was so annoying. Yeah, the Discord stuff was going to be the future, and that was obviously full of shit. But there are some that have still remained, and so I would say that's also a very good indication for they have very loyal holders talking stuff. So if you can go and they're not ghost towns in these Discords from projects that were made last cycle, that means they're still holding. So if the tide goes up, there's not much supply because they've probably been buying during the bear market. I know that because I was doing it. Right. So there's certain projects where a supply shock can happen incredibly quickly. Because what I want you guys to realize about NFT projects and why this shit's so fun is we're acknowledging these are rigged games, right? But they're way easier to rig because I only need a few people to rig the entire thing. Because let's say there's a project where there's only 2% of the collection available, and there's like, so that means there's only like 400 for sale at one given time. A single person could sweep the floor of the entire project. They just don't do it because there's not the noise to make it make sense. They're all waiting, bro. When
Mhm.
ETH goes to 5, 10K and there's euphoria in the streets, then they go rig it.
I wanna bring this back to Jimmy too, Jimmy Mr. Beast, because I think him accepting the $200 million, right? And Ben, this is a big point. I'm going to make it your point here. Him accepting this $200 million means that he believes in Ethereum, and Mr. Beast believing in Ethereum actually changes the dynamics of what can happen for Ethereum.
100%. Right? And so like that's a great point. I'm glad that you brought that up because that changes the entire dynamics of the conversation because
Completely.
now there's not even like a chance like, oh, will retail try it? If Mr. Beast, who has the most data on any amount of human beings, maybe in history from a single creator or a single media entity, right? Because, like, let's say even like some of these bigger, more legacy institutions, even when millions or billions of people were watching their content, they couldn't see second by second how little things change their behavior. Now all of them can. Right. Like
Yep.
as a YouTube strategist myself, I would go through and I did this for all my clients. I would see the exact moment when people dropped off. And so then I could send a report being like, when you do this, you lose traffic. Who has more opportunities to do that than Mr. Beast? Right. So he's going to get this thing in the hands of people and it will be tried at the very least.
Yeah, it's gonna change a lot of things. And when you have that many people that are participating in the discovery process of the pricing of assets as well, right? It just completely
Speculation,
changes it.
speculation. You want to be buying when speculation is going crazy because nothing will be as big as when people are like fantasizing, right? There's no such thing as that can be bigger. And I want to talk about this point right here. So I second the NFT content. Last I heard of them was a few years ago, and the discussion around it was pretty one-sided. It was pretty one-sided because most of the people that were loud were dumb. They were just lucky. And so unfortunately, the branding problem that NFTs have is that a lot of the biggest voices in it were just lucky. They weren't smart. Right. And so then because they became rich, the whole signal from noise conversation became an issue because are they good because they got rich? Right. And so then that created this whole situation where a lot of people, when you go look at stuff like NFT needs new faces, and I'm sure that we will become part of that through our collection. But yeah. Oh, they're definitely coming back to meme coins, brother. I can tell you this for a fact. The trenches will be
Oh man.
active and loud again.
Well, now that it's all legal
Legal,
too, I mean,
bro. 100%. Who is MrBeast, Nancy? So MrBeast is, I don't know if you're asking that literally or not, but I'll answer it literally. MrBeast is the largest YouTuber on the planet, and he runs a bunch of other channels off of that as well.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if that was a joke or not, because they're number 2, so that means they've been here, but maybe not, maybe not.
So Chad, I meant like you want to be holding, right? Obviously, and then yes, of course, selling when before the people have been picked. Like if you're, that's a great point, great distinction. You want to be accumulating before the mass speculation. Then when speculation is happening is when you should start releasing and selling a little bit. What I meant was that the projections of what something can become are almost always going to be bigger and larger than whatever actually ends up happening, because everyone's trying to pick the winner and there are only a few winners. They want youth market. Yeah, they want youth market. Carl, Keith, you and I talked about this last night, the playbook that TikTok used, right? Where when you're doing a movement like this, you have to have your way into the home, right? And so if you look at what TikTok did, I am willing to bet that their whole plan was to eventually be TikTok, but they understood that if they just launched an app like that, it would never work. So what they did is they made a hyper-specific platform targeting the children. And then the children all started using Bitly, or I think that's what it's called. No, not Bitly. It was, what was it called again? The dancing Musically.
Yeah, Musically, yeah.
And then when COVID happens, massive coincidence, then it's now TikTok, right? Like it was only TikTok for maybe a year it had been TikTok. And then everyone's like, what are you doing on TikTok? And then the kid in the home was able to educate everyone else to then onboard it to the most addictive product of all time.
Crazy.
Right? So you got to think that they're doing something similar from a financial perspective with the MrBeast crap. It's probably going to be gambling related, bro.
Oh God, I hope not.
It's probably going to be gambling related, man.
Bro, that would be terrible.
Bro, this gambling shit is crazy.
Yeah. It's hard to avoid talking about it. I mean, it's everywhere, man.
It's everywhere. And that's one of the biggest signs of a declining economy, in my opinion, is when speculation just reaches every part of it.
That's a very interesting thought. It's at least a sign that things are about to get bad.
Dude. Honestly, the gambling stuff is so much more messed up than anyone gives it credit, because it's been so hyper normalized by everyone talking about it, right? So then our natural cognitive bias of frequency bias, right? So if we see something enough, it can't be messed up, right? Super messed up.
Somebody sent a super chat. Chris Postal Wait 5089.
What's up? What do you say?
XRP starting to feel like a long to replace Swift. I think you're saying it feels like a long, like it's like worth betting on that. I don't know exactly what you're saying. That you can follow up in the chat without a super if you want to.
Oh, did we get a super? My bad. I always miss those because I'm on the Riverside stuff.
You gotta be in the actual chat, bro, with the folks, man.
My bad. I'm trying to keep manage this. We don't have a producer, bro. I'm trying to.
Yeah, dude, I don't even know how you're keeping.
I'm trying, man. It ain't easy. But Carl said, MrBeast will get paid no matter what the customers do. He's already won. Yes, but I'm sure he has some sort of skin in the game as it goes up for sure.
Oh yeah.
He also is a big holder of. Go ahead. You got a point.
I'm not. You're not taking $200 million without a really good idea, because you don't need that money. You know what I mean? He doesn't need these people's money, or at least he doesn't need it from Bitmine, right? So unless I'm ready to win, right? I'm not going to stick my whole company, my future, right, on something that I don't think is actually going to work. So I think that's a big part of it for sure.
Big deal. Yeah, and he's also already a big holder in a lot of assets that are in the ETH ecosystem. Like when the NFTs were going nuts, he bought a bunch of punks. And so he's basically holding like the fine art meta of the whole thing if ETH goes crazy.
Right.
So he's got a lot of reasons for this to work out. So I'm pretty confident this is going to work out. But one thing I wanted to also bring up was the whole Spotify deal. Remember when Spotify threw $100 million at Joe Rogan?
Uh-huh.
And everyone was like, this is crazy. This is stupid. How many more people now watch their podcasts on Spotify? That didn't before.
Oh, facts. I mean,
it was incredibly successful.
They've become the podcasting platform in my eyes. Like, I don't know where else people typically go, like traditionally, for the podcast.
Yeah. And Apple Podcasts, their experience is pretty shit. And so I think that Spotify saw the opportunity. They're like, let's go do this. And one thing that I love is when massive companies don't understand the full problem. So some insider shit. Spotify gives them this deal, right? And they say like, okay, Joe, you can only post your content here, right? But they didn't understand the underlying mechanism of what his clips channel meant for his main channel. So when he wasn't able to post the clips that he normally was, the whole way less people saw it because it was a gateway in every single time you posted a clip. Someone make it hooked that would not have watched a 3-hour thing. Why has our content not exploded yet, Keith? Because when you see the topic of conversation, there really aren't that many people that are willing to sign up for 2.5 hours of it. But if we had clips, they may come in and love 6 minutes. They may even watch 2 hours worth of 6-minute clips.
Facts.
Right? So it's just a completely different equation because it's a statement of I am. If you click something that's 2+ hours, you're saying you're that person.
True, man.
So it's, go ahead, you got a point?
No, that's just a really good point. The idea that cutting him off from the clips would have absolutely
and they did for a bit, and it was they were shitting their pants, right? And then he came back.
Yeah, because I'm actually was interested in that in general because I wouldn't have thought about, because I've only seen Joe Rogan on YouTube, right? So I'm like, how did that deal work? Like, what did they give him $100 million to do if it wasn't to be exclusively on Spotify?
That was the deal, right?
Okay.
For a short period of time. And then now, like Alex is saying, he can post his episodes on YouTube now. He does it all. Yeah, like he posts the full length, he posts the clips, he posts all of that.
Yeah.
I can clip for y'all. Do you actually post clips? Because Chris, we want clippers. That's actually a big thing that we want. We've just been waiting to say it because we wanted to build an audience and all that stuff, but we definitely do want clippers. We're gonna basically, when we get to a point at the end of every episode, I'm gonna upload the raw footage so that clippers can go access it and go ham, and then we'll try to create some sort of incentive where if you get a lot of views that you earn something like that. I'll work on that.
Yeah, totally down.
People don't have long attention spans thanks to TikTok. Yeah, TikTok. I hate TikTok. I absolutely hate TikTok. And as someone who, like, everyone, when I said all this shit, everyone was just like, Ben, you're just salty because you won the last generation of social media. You were really good with Instagram. You were really good with YouTube. And I was like, no, this is the decline of society. And then to shut them up, I went and got 100K subs,
I was gonna say
followers on TikTok. I was like, this shit ain't that hard. I'll go do it. And then I did it. And I was like, see, this is bad. This is not good.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I was gonna say, I'm like, that's interesting, Ben, because you do have 100,000 followers on TikTok.
Yeah, just because people were saying that I was salty, so I was like, bet. Carl, so we should make Carl a mod too on our channel. We still got to figure out the tech on how to do that. I don't even know how to do that.
I haven't looked it up probably.
Let me add that to my list of stuff to do today.
That's sick. 24/7 Academy. I appreciate you doing that.
Add mods. We also had somebody else who's going to be a mod too, right? Add mods.
Yeah, Robbie J. Davis.
Amazing. Wasn't there someone else too?
Jamin might be down to do it.
Okay.
He was in the chat today. I appreciate you, Jamin. I saw your comment.
Jamin, good to see you. Add mods to YouTube. Okay, I'll figure out how to do that. My near boomer ass will try to figure that out. It's not even TikTok. It's doom scrolling as well. Yes, this is it. So my bigger thing was not because of what TikTok was. It was what TikTok was going to necessitate everyone else became. Right? Because the time off these platforms was just going to be too much. We're like, we got to make a competing product.
That's what happened. No doubt. And yeah, I mean, I feel like the doom scroll, I mean, I guess Vine might have been one of the most, like,
Vine was sick, dude.
Doom scrollers.
I loved Vine. Sorry. Vine was so awesome. I loved the constraint, right? Because I do think that creativity thrives under constraints. And so when you only had the 6-second thing, the creativity we saw there was crazy. A lot of it was obviously horseshit, and there was so much racist crap, but there was so much racist crap. But it's because that's the easiest humor, right? That's just like, of course, anything that's new, like it defaults to stuff that they know is low-hanging fruit, where I guaranteed I'm going to get some reaction from this. But some of the creativity on those were insane. Like, they've still survived. I watch these videos all the time where when I'm chilling, I'll go to like watch these montages of old Vines, like Vines that saved my soul and crap like that.
I remember I'm in my mom's car.
Vroom, vroom.
Vroom, vroom. Yeah, that's what it was. I was just like, what in the world? Yeah, Vine was technically the OG brain rot, man.
Yeah. So you have a book club. We should tell people about our plan. So we were like, oh, should we start a Memes and Markets book club? Because once we have our Patreon up and running, I'm like, how do we make it really valuable? And then I realized, I was like, I don't know if many people will read books. So what we do instead is we're going to create a watch list, like a private watch list of our favorite videos from both me and Keith that we feel are like really worth watching. And so we're going to add to that every month, so that anybody who's a Patreon supporter can see the shit that not only are we watching, that we think is worth watching.
Yes. Yes. I think that's going to be awesome. I'm excited to share that stuff. um, and then I saw a couple comments. Yeah, for Clippers, guys, send us DMs on
Yes.
either Twitter, Instagram. We're on TikTok. Send us DMs, and we'll get all that set up for you.
Yeah, we would love that. Musically was also a thing. TikTok, when it first came out, felt to the combo of Musically and Vine. Yeah, that's a great point. It was a familiar thing that people knew it enough, but they had a unique thing. So like Keith and I were actually talking. We eventually, our big swing, we want to build a social media platform, and so we're like, how do we build this in a way? And we're like, okay, it's got to be targeting, just like what Musically did, right? A specific segment of an audience that's really passionate, and then you build around that. Hello from Chicago. Hello. Sorry about your guys' loss, the Bears, to the Rams, and sorry about your loss, Keith. We just had L's all around, man. The Jags lost.
Yeah,
terrible. But I knew you guys were gonna lose, buddy. Their team was like 25-year-old men. Like there was no shot.
Yeah, dude, it was tough that it came down to the end like that, but I definitely was not expecting them to win the game.
No.
What was I gonna say? Okay, so there was one comment that I want to come back to. I would love to try to throw it up on the screen. Vapor Rub _777 said, Keith, I'm about to be 18 and see the future in digital currency, but my family holds very conservative Dave Ramsey money views, and I don't make a lot. How should I start so that I can prepare wisely? Yeah, so I guess you're saying like your parents wouldn't support you in trying to go out and invest in some of this kind of stuff. So what I recommend is that when your mom puts down her purse, that you go in there and you take $20. No, I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, the cool thing about this stuff is that it's all fractional. Okay, so when you get 18, you can sign up for your Coinbases, or I definitely recommend Coinbase for crypto in particular. And whenever you do make a little bit of money, just start playing around with it. Just start kind of like throwing a couple bucks in there is what I would do. Just not financial advice, by the way. but just start to just get your feet wet. The one thing that I would do for a younger person is start to play around with like the non-custodial platforms. So if you haven't already, right, like get your money in the Coinbase and stuff, but then start to play around with like actual decentralized applications, like start staking on some of these platforms, or buying NFTs, or playing around with that type of infrastructure in general, because you want to be like super native to all of this stuff as it continues to become more and more of a thing. And that doesn't necessarily require money, right? You can have small amounts of money, but just start playing around with these platforms. And I think that's a lot of value you can get without a bunch of money.
Keith, that's freaking awesome advice. And the other thing too is that you can be invested without investing any money, because all these people want community involvement. So you can get involved in their discords. You can ask a ton of questions. These people are very eager to teach you. And so if you are a wealth of knowledge in this space, if Web3 is just becoming traditional finance, there's going to be a lot of jobs created in this space. So if everyone's freaking out about losing their job, I'd be going crazy about the Web3 industry, man.
There's such a gap in the Web3 industry, and
it's huge.
It's massive, because the only people that are in this space are, look, so the developers, right, and the engineers are the main people that are here, and they're here because you kind of, as a developer, when you're coming up, you're realizing, wait a minute, I can make a ton of money by knowing this blockchain thing, because no one knows it yet. And there's a lot of money being thrown at it. So the engineers, there's people there, you know what I mean? Like you got to be pretty talented to really break into that side of the space. But when it comes to every single other job, like no one's there.
Freebies. The creators in this space, shit. Like for the most part, of course there are exceptions, but like everywhere across the board is just not that good, because it's hard to recruit people for something that's considered so speculative. But when it just instantly becomes not speculative at all, there's gonna be a massive shortage in terms of people that can know and speak the tone. And I love the word that you said, native. Right? Because it is like we're speaking different languages. It's so weird. But Carl, I wanted to highlight this because it's good advice. So where is it? I keep getting more and more comments. I keep losing it. Here we go. So you're very young, referring to the person we were talking to earlier. Start with a high interest savings account online for 4 to 5% and build up a nest egg. I think that's great advice, because you have time on your side, right? And then go to the casino. And I would say, in terms of the conversation that you have with your parents, I would say just don't have it.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's certain things that, like, if they're Dave Ramsey indoctrinated, brother, like,
They're not going to listen to anything you say. Also, you also have to remember this too, people. Your parents love you, right? And so whatever they believe is the best for you, they're going to force it down your throat. But how ill-informed are they? Right? I just stopped listening to my parents when I was like 13 or 14 completely because I was like, they're so out of touch. And it's not their
fair.
fault, right? Like
Yeah.
it was really good advice for a world that no longer exists. And I could just see that, right? So I was like, okay, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to listen to like Gary Vee at the time and the other creators that were talking about this stuff because I was like, they're far more on the
Mhm,
ground floor,
mhm,
right? And
mhm.
so I think you also have to have conviction. If you look at anyone who's done anything crazy, it's because they ignored almost everyone, and that's not easy to do,
100%. Yeah, we do have the blessing of having these platforms. I mean, just imagine, right,
dude.
before stuff like this, where we can just watch people who are actually doing it, you know?
Crazy, right? When I became obsessed with YouTube really young, and I found Gary Vee really, really young, and I was like, "Oh my god, like this guy is me in older form." So I was like, "This is awesome." And then it really validated my thoughts because I was like, "Am I actually mental? Like, why am I the only one that's like this?" But the internet really democratized access to things, so definitely take advantage and take little swings too, right? Like, I think Carl made a really good point calling it a casino because crypto investing is definitely risky, right? And so,
Yeah.
especially if you're going to go try to higher up the risk curve because you're really young,
Mhm.
understand that you're probably going to lose on almost everything you put money into.
Yeah, yeah, and all of that is really good points because I also don't think about the fact that, like, I mean, I got my start in crypto. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I started investing in crypto. I was like, oh, this investing thing exists. Like, let me like figure this whole thing out.
Okay, so crypto brought you to general trading.
100%,
Interesting.
100%. Yeah. Um, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, because I never was like I had knew that stocks existed.
Mhm.
I took like a course in it in high school, but I never thought to like, oh, let me actually go invest in stocks. It was more when I saw that there was just this thing that had not existed before at all, where I was like, oh, like this is an asymmetric, like crazy opportunity.
Yes.
And then I went back and realized, like, oh, well, I should probably have some Nasdaq. Like, I need to have some S&P 500. You know what I
Got it.
mean? But I do think that's a good foundation to have too, because the thing is you do want a certain amount of your portfolio to just like be going up. Like no matter what. You
Yeah,
know, uh,
totally. How'd you find crypto though? What was the first thing?
yeah. So it was just graduating high school. I was working maintenance at my high school with my best friend. And one day, so he had an internship. He had an internship at a venture capital firm.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So they were talking about Ethereum. And one day, the founder of Ethereum
Mhm.
died. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And when the founder of Ethereum died, Vitalik Buterin died, there was this big headline and the thing tanked by like 50% or whatever in the day.
Yeah, he's not dead, everyone, just so
Yeah,
you
he's not
really
dead.
care. Yeah.
He's not dead. And so anyways, and so he was bringing this up to me. I was like, "Wait, well, what is Ethereum?" Because we had heard about Bitcoin. We were in high school, and I've told the story a bunch. But guys, I love telling the story. Uh, we had heard of Bitcoin, might have used it. No admission on camera, and we were like, "Wait a minute." But I was like, "Wait a minute, what is this Ethereum thing?" Though he didn't care that much. I was like, "Bro, like, there can't just be like a Bitcoin and an Ethereum. Like, there's something that's actually happening here." So then I just went all in. But yeah, that's my story for how I
Dude,
learned.
that's awesome. Yeah, crypto finds you, eh? It's kind of weird.
Mhm, mhm.
Because when you're someone who gets attracted to this early, it's so obvious to you the second you hear it.
And you said you heard it in high like your teacher was talking
Grades
about it.
10, Miss Voke, business class, like the 30th day of the semester. She pulls out the textbook. I read about how these kids are doing these experiments on college campuses, making transactions with something like Bitcoin. It was Bitcoin, right? And so then I just became obsessed with this. And granted, it was so hard to buy back then, and I was really poor. And so I didn't buy any, but it was definitely on my radar from that point
That's crazy.
forward, like crazy. And so it
That's
gave me
crazy.
a huge advantage. So thank you, Miss Voke. I've given you shout outs a bunch of times. But yeah, I think it was just in the textbook, man. I
That's
don't even think it was something that she
crazy.
brought to us. I think she was just reading the textbook, which also makes you think who was making the textbook.
Who made that textbook, bro?
Yeah, maybe this is something like we talk about the whole connection to potentially like government agencies and stuff that would speak to that.
Yeah, yeah, true, true. Because for the textbook to actually, be getting circulated like that is wild.
And if you understand how a lot of these long-term psyops work, they usually do try to target people in indirect ways, right? So like they'll know that's like, for example, like let's say they'll monitor what books certain kids were taking out of the library to see what people had natural aptitudes towards or what they were drawn towards, and then groom them from there. So maybe we've all been groomed. It's
Facts,
entirely
bro.
possible.
Alien Walk, it was more about identifications, but you know, you get
What?
it, you get it.
Why
You don't have
don't
to throw that one up on screen at
Okay, okay,
all.
okay. I'm trying to find the one where someone said something here I really wanted to touch because this is an important reframe that I think will make you a lot happier. So, so bad, I think we're the generation that had to lead the parents, even myself as a millennial. It's not their fault. We have access to things and we're native to things they can't even fathom. Yes, they use the internet. But how many times, Keith, do people say, "What are your credentials?" And they're almost
Oh
all
yeah.
either from that age or being influenced by someone who's that age. And so they still have these mental blocks that they think they have to pay for information for it to be valuable.
I just saw another one of these the other day. This dude was like, I work at this hedge fund and I want to send your videos to my boss. But he's like, I can't do it. Like I know he's gonna ask me for your credentials. So can you tell me your credentials? I'm like, all right, I'm actually just not responding to these anymore.
There's no point, dude. There's no point. I used to try to do this, right? I used to try to convince everyone that I was right. I was like, oh, I'm early. Like, this is what's going to happen. And no one would believe me because another point that people had above here, where there was like, do your own research is the only way to build conviction, essentially. And when the world opens up to you, and there's a few different things that you can do throughout your life that really kind of open you up to the next level of life. And this is one of the biggest ones that not many people are doing. If you spend a lot of time researching something and then you make a bet that almost no one else is doing and you're right, your life will never be the same because your need for validation from other people goes down dramatically. And that's like a cheat code for life because how many things just don't happen because people are looking to be told they're right 40 times before they do it? By the time you do that, the opportunity is gone, man. And I was just very lucky that I never really had that part of my brain. I'd always ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Mhm.
And so I was lucky that way, but I do think it's something that I actively trained. Like when I was a little kid, I was like, I saw that everybody would stop because the voices in their head, where it'd be like, oh, don't do this, you're gonna be a loser, all the shit. So I enacted like a 3-second rule where if I felt that in my belly and there was about something that I knew I wanted to do, I'd count to 3 and then I just did it. Whether I was talking to someone, whether I was putting my hand up, even if I didn't have something to say, I'd be like, right? Because then you just get desensitized to it.
Mm. Love it, man. Absolutely, bro.
The
That's
finance bros love playing that game. It's also because it was something that they worked hard for. Their identity was wrapped towards it. And it's also a way to gatekeep from competition, right? Because
yeah,
if Keith's opinions to be valid have to be behind a degree that he's obviously not going to go get, you eliminate someone who's really good competition.
for sure. Yeah, yeah. Finance people are funny, man. Because it's like it's one of those fields where you actually don't have to have any qualifications at all. Like, it's not like being a doctor or a lawyer where you have to like, do something. I mean, well, like I've had my financial licenses as well. So there's that side of things, but those hedge fund guys, they don't even have that stuff usually. Usually they don't.
Mm.
Um, so it's just like chill out, bro. Your degree was not necessary to be where you're at all.
Mhm. That's hard for people to stomach.
Yeah.
That's also why for a long period of time, people would speak in incredibly complex language and jargon. It was basically like how do you know you're in the club? You have different words,
True.
right? They're literally like, because I learned this really when I started studying academic papers from outside my zone of genius, right? Like obviously when I was in business school, like it was all the same shit. But when I started studying medical examinations and medical academic stuff because of my knee surgeries, so I started reading all these papers and I knew the words they were saying. And I'm like, there's no need to say it like this at all. Right. And so then I learned more and more. And I'm like, this is what they're doing. This is on purpose. This is how they attribute value to this thing because they say it in a crazy, like complex way. Because if you realize how simple this was, maybe you wouldn't pay 100 grand for it. Right. Obviously, like, and I'm generalizing like crazy. There's a lot of very complex stuff, of course,
Of course.
but there's a fair amount of that.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. Reading some of these economic leafed said, like Peter Lynch said, as long as you know grade 5 math, you can do well in finance. Yeah, man.
It's more the emotional stuff that you talk about a lot.
Oh yeah, especially like trading. Oh, it's 90. All right, I'll leave it at 90% emotional. And behavioral control. And, you know, and that's the side of finance that I care about, right? So that's another thing about the corporate finance people is like they don't actually have to deal with that part of it. Like everything for
Mm.
them is way less emotional decision making and it's just numbers. It's just crunching the numbers and figuring out the IRR and the wake the multiples on invested capital and return on equity. And it's not a lot of the emotional decision making stuff, especially if you're not up high in the function. So I've learned that that's also a very different game, and that's the more academic side of finance is the corporate finance world.
How did you develop that skill?
You know, I don't know that the emotional side or the
You definitely
professional.
have. You definitely have. You're
The
one of
mo
the people that I've met that has the most control and regulation over their emotions. So that had to have been trained. I'm saying, like, what was the curriculum that you did?
you know, it's actually kind of funny. I think it comes down to my childhood
Really?
because I was a hothead.
Really?
We've talked about this a lot, or maybe once rather, where like I got into a lot of disputes. And it was because I was in a school that was very adversarial. We're all in
Got it.
like it's I'm in the South, all right, and you got people that aren't super well off and stuff. And so when that happens, you find ways to get mad at each other and stuff. And you know, some of that stuff was race based or whatever. So we would have these clashes and stuff, and like people were always picking on me, right?
Mhm.
And so I, you know, very quickly was like not having any of that. So when people messed with me, like especially if they were getting physical with me, like I would very quickly, you know, end it. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go.
So, anyways, eventually I got to where I went to this new school. And this new school, like, you know, you can't do that kind of stuff. You gotta have a little bit of a grip on yourself, or
Nice.
you're not gonna be at that school for very long. And so, anyway, so I had to train myself to um not react to people playing with messing with me in certain ways that I didn't like. And I mean, it was really important, right? Because if you don't do that, your whole life takes a different trajectory,
100%.
right? And I kind of understood that. I was like, all right, like I gotta like not make these people think that I'm a degenerate.
Yeah, that's thank you for sharing that. I want to continue, but the
Yeah.
point that I would contribute to that is that when people hear that, sometimes they're like, okay, now that means I need to avoid conflict. I think you need to be the person who ends conflict because conflict is to a degree unavoidable. But if you're the person who's comfortable in conflict and comfortable with ending it quickly, that's a cheat code.
100%. And it's like, and this is funny because this directly applies to trading. It's like you gotta know when to walk away from
That's so hard to do, dude.
it. It
Sunk
is.
cost is a very big thing, and the
Yeah.
ego gets involved as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. And it's like all of this stuff directly plays into trading. I'll bring up the book again. It's called uh, Market Mind Games by Denise Shaw. And like
Mhm,
the whole book is about how you need to analyze like your past. You need to analyze your relationship with the most important people in your life, your mother, your father. Like this is the thing
mhm.
that's actually playing with how you play around in the markets. Because what do you do when you come to the market? You come to the market trying to prove yourself. You come to the
True.
market trying to like
Ego's
prove.
steering the car.
Yeah, and it's like when you're in that place, you can't make great decisions. So at the very minimum, you have to be aware of these things and use your emotions as data as to why you're making these decisions. And so it's all about that, man, for sure.
100%. That was awesome. Thank you for sharing all that, Keith. That was so sweet. That's awesome. And so there's a bunch of things from Carl that I'm trying to put on the screen, but we're getting so many comments I can't keep up. The first one that I wanted to touch was uh, Carl. Keep giving these. These are absolutely unreal. But one, he was talking about how you needed permission even to make your own stock trades from your whatever word he said, right? And that's true. And even now, most people have like a money person. Like my mom and my dad have a money person at one of these like chain financial institutions, right? Where they take over a book of business and they talk to you for an hour and they're putting you into the same three index funds or mutual funds they put everyone into, right?
Mhm.
And so I've basically been coaching my mom on like where to put her money for the last like 5 to 10 years. And she calls and like says some of the stuff I'm saying to this guy, and he like fights her on it so much. And I'm like, yeah,
That's funny.
go down to his incentives,
Yeah.
right? And then I
And
want you to ask him, is he making a kickback on where he's putting your money?
Robbie J. Davis is about to light up the chat because we've literally had this exact conversation
Your
inside of
community?
yeah, my community where because I've been in the game. Like I've been a financial advisor.
Yes.
And as the same person, my incentives changed. The way that I talk to people changed. The way that I will
It's
talk about
inevitable.
certain financial
It's
instruments, they
inevitable.
change.
Yes. It's inevitable, dude. 100%. And, Carl, the other one that I wanted to touch was that he said that most bosses can't even open a PDF, right? And I think that's true. And so the debate that we had an episode or two ago, where I was saying that there's going to be radical change in most of these industries because of they're going to be forced to, that's case in point, right? So many old people for the current day market are useless, but they won't retire. They won't quit. And who decides whether they're hired or not? Their friend, who's also old as shit. So they're not going to let them go. Like most of the wealth, most of the opportunity is being hoarded by people that are so past their prime, but they're not dying. So like they work, and because of modern medicine and where we've advanced with these things, they can work so much longer. That's why we have dinosaurs that are politicians, because they've already been bought and paid for. So of course, like, why would I go get a new one when I've already got this one and they're barely fucking moving? So I basically get to decide everything they do.
That's actually a really, really good point for sure, man.
That's present everywhere. I remember because I was in the internship program at my school. And so I would see how all these organizations functioned. And I saw that was even present then. Yeah, or retiring. Definitely, John, great call. They don't need to die. Great call, 100% retiring. But I also mean in general, like people are living a lot longer, which is great. I'm super happy about that. But it also means they're working a lot longer.
And especially in like finance, bro, where you're not working, bro. Unfortunately, a lot of these people, they build up their careers and then they just sit in the seat, bro. Like honestly,
of course, because they're like, we made it. I did all this work before this, and they typically stop working once they get there. Yeah. And so now also, not only do credentials not matter, I almost think credentials are like the inverse of what they were before, because the gap between someone who's hyper obsessed with a subject today versus someone who was hyper obsessed 50 years ago, they're different leagues, bro. It's like high school ball versus the pros. Like people, when I talk to you about stuff, I'm like, you don't understand how much better I can get than you because I'm obsessed with this shit 24/7 and I have unlimited information to acquire.
That's real, man.
I know you don't care like I do. And maybe you would have when you were young, but you don't have the energy and enthusiasm and access to this that I do. So it's impossible for me to have these conversations with people because they can't fathom that, right? Because everyone always just, whatever my experience was, that's what everyone's doing.
Yeah. Gosh, it just reminds me of this guy. I won't say his name. He's pretty prolific in the wealth management space. He was like, he was talking to me. He was like, you just need to go get a job, son.
Like,
just go get like a normal job. This was a few years ago, like 3 years ago, maybe, Max.
I'm so glad you didn't. Look what you did.
And I was like, you have no idea who I am, bro.
Let's go, Keith.
But it was a funny moment.
That's amazing, dude. If you know that you're built different, until you accept that and just move through the world like that, no one will tell you.
For sure.
No one will tell you because it doesn't. They can't tell unless you prove it to the market.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm glad that you had the balls to continue on your stuff and like, look, the proof is in the pudding, and it's just the beginning.
Most def, dude.
But do we have anything else for the structured part of the episode before we open it up purely to the chat?
I think we're pretty much chilling, man. I can try to run some of the quick news stuff.
Yeah, go for it.
We got all of this, what's going on in the background is that whole situation with Greenland. All right. So that's happening while we sit here and chat. Somebody just sent a super chat. So
thank you.
The show needs a logo, something instantly recognizable as Bitcoin or Monero. So when people see it, they immediately associate it with memes and markets.
I think the M is that, no?
I feel like our M is sick.
I feel like it's so simple, but it's recognizable.
Yeah, it's like, where have you seen that before? And it kind of shows what it is that we're talking about.
The logo, yeah. I actually had a bunch of logos made by people, and they were all like way too much. And I'm like, no, this is it. So I just made this.
Yeah, I love it, dude. He said, I'll DM one of you on IG once I have something solid to share. Cool, man. Yeah. And honestly, like, I'm just going to say this. It's actually a really good idea to DM our memes and markets stuff because it's not going to have that much traffic in it right now. Like people aren't doing that yet.
Yeah.
Because people are inundating, my DMs, and I'm sure Ben is getting a lot of DMs and stuff as well. So it's like, it's just much harder to keep up with like stuff that's actually related to the business in our personal DMs.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Of course we would, if like someone blew us away with logo, we would change it. Like we're not really too ego driven here. I want the best. If it's not mine, I'm totally cool with that as long as it's the best. But do you want to show?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
You're good, man.
So I'm not even going to start there. I'm going to have to end there, guys, because it's a lot going on.
Okay.
But yesterday we got news that the New York Stock Exchange is going tokenized. Okay. So we obviously did a whole video on this morning. 24/7 stock trading. This is a really big deal. They're seeking SEC approval, right? So nothing is set in stone, but they are working on this. And the fact that the NYSE, right, the premier stock exchange in the United States, is doing this says that we're way past. And not only that, but we already had the DTCC, which is the clearing, right, of all of them, saying that they've gotten approval from the SEC to be able to go out and start tokenizing all securities transactions, the settlement and clearing of securities transactions. So now the base layer is already done. Now we just need all of the stock exchanges is the next piece, and then all of the issuers to start, issuing their stocks in these tokenized forms. And that's crazy to think, because that can happen at any point now, right? If the DTCC can tokenize securities transactions, then all we need, it's not, now it's just a decision. It's not like an infrastructure thing anymore. So yeah.
Man, I've seen some people talk about like Freemasons and stuff. I've been watching this one YouTuber from the UK who walks through and exposes all the Freemason stuff there. Can't remember his name. It's like Sam William or something like that. Super entertaining. Like I can't speak to the validity of anything that he's saying, but at the very least, he's a very good cinematographer and makes it for very entertaining videos. So definitely go check that out if you're interested in all that stuff. But yeah, this is so huge. And the fact that like they're all meeting, the World Economic Forum is meeting currently, are they not?
Oh yeah, it's Davos week, everybody. Davos is happening right now, and
Crazy.
Davos, for anyone who's not familiar, happens in January every single year. It's where all of the most elite people meet up for the annual World Economic Forum meeting. Now, Davos is a city in Switzerland, but when you say Davos, everyone knows that you're actually talking about the conference.
Wow, that's like the.
Yeah, that dude knows your guy, Brian Kale Swilliamson.
Yeah, that's the guy. He is so talented. Like, even if everything he's saying is BS, which I don't think that it is per se, but he's so talented. Like the videos that he makes, and also what I love as like a psychology, like I don't even know what to call myself, but he's so good at social engineering. If anyone doesn't know what that is, I think it's very important that you understand what social engineering is, so that you can be aware if someone's trying to do it for you. Because a lot of people are worried about getting hacked through something literal, right? Like, oh, you hacked into my bank account, or you broke into my space. When social engineering is actually a pretty easy thing if you understand NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, and you're confident. Because you can achieve some crazy stuff. Like, that's how I've gotten into spaces I was not supposed to be in many times in my life, because I just understood the dynamics and the social contracts that everyone has that's there. And so you can take advantage of that pretty easily. And if you want examples of that, go see when he talks to security staff. He's a genius, dude.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to start watching his stuff more.
Bro, it's, again, I'm not saying I agree with any of it. I don't know enough. I would love to even have him on to like figure out like, how did you learn all this stuff, if it is real, right? And it's the watchability of it, because it's so unique. And he's just only randomly blowing up on YouTube now. Like, he's been making videos for like 11 years, but it's because a lot of creators are doing what you're doing, where they're having the walk-in talks. And so now thumbnails that are more like that are getting picked back up. And so now he's getting this massive resurgence in the algorithm.
I was just going to say that a big thing that I liked about it was how he keeps it so casual, right?
He's incredibly articulate.
Yeah.
I've never heard that guy say a like or an He makes me feel so shitty about myself. You should have on cool, Professor Jiang. Oh, he's one of my dream guys.
That'd be... Yeah, for sure. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be so fun. But getting a hold of him has proven difficult. I've already tried to reach out to him a bunch of times. So if anyone has a way in, definitely please.
Yeah, he's probably one of the hottest people on the internet right now,
for sure. Yeah, between him and Simon Dixon, I definitely want to get on soon. Also, guys, we've lined up some crazy guests already.
Oh yeah.
We got some emails last night where it controls what you think about.
It's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be insane. And that kid, what up? We're glad to have you back in the live. Act like you own it. You do. That's true.
Yeah. It's like, I remember one of my friends, like the first time I'd ever saw someone like do stuff like this was, I don't even remember where I was, in Miami type stuff probably. People just like,
oh yeah,
like the big long line for the club.
Just walk in front of it.
Just walk in.
Yeah. Also, it's crazy. Like one time I've done this where there was a space that I was trying to get into. I didn't have the proper ticket, so I literally just became friends with the person, and then I basically figured out by hanging out there like who they're allowed to let in, and then I went to the other person and said I'm that. So I hung out there for like 20 minutes. I was like, hey, who they're letting in? I'm like making jokes the whole time, chilling with the person, right? Really nice dude. And no one got in trouble. It's all good. And then I went to the other door where the other security was, and I said the guy's name, and I said, I'm this.
Love it, dude. Love it, man. Yeah, concerts is also a really good one. Like, finding that way in there, man.
Totally. Elon texted Keith and asked him to come on the show. Allegedly. I have a line to Elon if we could ever give him something worthy of his time. So like that's not out of the realm of possibility whatsoever.
For sure, bro. For sure.
He said they're saying it's cutting. Are we having issues with the internet?
I don't think so.
But also, guys, I'm just gonna say it publicly. I'm looking at the likes number right now, and it is crazy how the difference between the amount of likes and how many people are here. Come on. Yeah, we're gonna try to get Sami. He hasn't replied to my DMs, but he will. So keep commenting on his stuff. We've had some people comment on our stuff saying that they're commenting on his. If he gets like 5 in a day, I'm sure he'd be like, okay, I'll reply now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, hit that like button. Come on now. We got a couple hundred people in here, and that is, by the way, so cool.
So cool. And also, guys, other favor that I'm going to be shamelessly asking for here is if any of y'all have Spotify, please give us a 5-star review on the Spotify platform, because that does so much for pushing our stuff on Spotify to other people, because they don't have like buttons that are like as many tools. So if you still can't hear anything, can they not hear us?
No way. If you can hear us,
I can hear it.
One in the chat.
Oh, cool. And also, guys, I can hear it. Fine.
Okay, cool.
Smash the like. Yeah, the delay is crazy right now. I'm not sure why that's happening. I'm hardwired in, but I think it might be their internet.
Just real quick, someone asked to put the channel we were talking about, and this is the guy. It's Swilliamism, and I struggled to find it right there trying to type it in, but that's what it is.
Yeah, dude, he's yeah, it's just honestly, it's just great entertainment. Like even if you don't, if you think he's going too far with like the conspiracy stuff, whatever, it's still super interesting. But the Spotify thing is a very big deal, guys. Like if you go to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star, if we've given you any value, that would mean the world to me personally, because I understand how important those ratings are for shows getting pushed organically.
Yeah. It's Memes and Markets on Spotify. I'll go ahead and just show real quick so you guys always know what we look like. This is us right now. We have 21 reviews. All right. So if you leave us a review, then there we go. You guys are getting some of my music taste real quick.
Let's go.
Yeah, we really, really, really appreciate that stuff. It actually makes a really big difference because we're not native on Spotify like that. So when you guys do that, it really
helps a lot.
Makes a difference. Yep.
Yeah. So we appreciate you all a lot. Did you have some other news that you wanted to show the people?
Oh, well, look, just the tariff ruling was supposed to happen again today. They're supposed to rule on whether or not Trump's tariffs were actually going to happen. That did not happen again. They pushed it back again.
Funniest thing, Keith, sorry to cut you off again.
Go ahead.
This morning, I wake up, I check my phone. The tweet above says they're going to make a ruling. The tweet right below, they're not going to make a ruling. I'm like, that is so Twitter.
That's wild, bro. Yeah, Twitter's fast, man. The stuff is really fast. I've got to share a couple of just crazy stuff about the Greenland situation, because this dude Trump is a madman. So this was one of them. He posted on Truth Social an image of himself planting a U.S. flag in Greenland. Okay, all right. I thought that one was fascinating. And then there was another one though that was really good too. This one was at you, Ben.
At me? Is it the Carney shit?
No, well, no. So they did do like the text messages between him and I think that was him and Macron. Dude is hilarious, y'all. Like, dude is crazy, bro. The stuff that he'll post.
Macron himself?
Yeah, but like okay, so imagine it's like a text thread, but like just like anyone, right? Who makes these text threads that's like supposed to be a joke. You know what I'm saying? But he did that, and it was like was like, let's meet in Switzerland, bro. Like basically, it was what it was saying. And I'm just like, this dude is crazy, bro.
Yes, Brand_1 said just became a member for Keith D. So
Let's
Keith,
go.
yeah, Keith just opened up memberships on his channel. So if y'all want exclusive content, go over there. He's priced it incredibly affordably. So if you want to get some access to some secret sauce, you can do so on his channel now.
Yeah, much appreciated, guys. Yeah, the macro analyst tier over there, I'm doing exclusive videos, and other than that, you'll get access to just like early stuff and having badges when I post. So this right here is another Trump post. Listen, Ben, he's got this one right here. He said, Canada and Greenland.
That's crazy. Should we? You got something else?
And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, like, why are we so against that? Like, honestly.
It's an optics, it's a social thing purely. But I do think that the Canadian economy doesn't need to be pushed that much worse for people to change their opinion. Right? Everyone's proud until they're hungry. And we don't, like I've said before, we don't have the access to the world money printer like you guys do. And also, we also have to talk about Carney's deal with China. So Carney just signed a deal with China to allow, I'll try to give you more specifics, but basically there used to be these incredibly large tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. I think it was 100% tariffs. And that's because they were just so much better than anything that can be produced here. And automotive is still a fairly big sector in Canada. I would argue it's not as big as the public thinks that it is, because I know people who work at these manufacturing plants and they're losing jobs by the day. Like they're getting dwindled and dwindled by automation. So the optics of it is that so many people work in automotive, blah, 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 blah. Someone's complaining about the sound again. I think you just got to refresh the page. I think it's something, maybe it's because we were talking about, who knows. But so he signs a deal with China, and now Canadians can go to China without a visa and all this stuff. And everyone's saying it's for different things. In my opinion, it's purely about the Canadian housing market. That's what I think this is about. What am I saying that on? Pure BS vibes. It's just my speculation on things. But I will say that Professor Jiang made a post about it the day after it happened. And I had already said to my girlfriend that exact thesis that he shared on his story too. So if you respect Jiang, I wasn't too far off the mark, at least from his opinion. And why that's the case is because our whole economy is propped up on our housing market. And I also thought about this yesterday. I was like, maybe these Chinese people were pushing the narrative that people couldn't withdraw their money from these Canadian real estate investments because that would usher them into have to make a deal. Right? So who knows if it was even real? Perception is reality for people to get scared and start pulling out their money. So, right. And then now they've signed a deal, and who knows what that means for the future of Canada. But yeah.
Fascinating, man. Yeah. I would say we should probably do a full episode on this idea of like the reshuffling of the world in this way. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. With Canada, they've got us so brainwashed because like we're an incredibly complicit nation. We just say, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. And as long as there's an altruistic undertone to anything being pushed, we don't ask questions. So they continue to own the media here too. Like where like now even social media platforms, like it pushes Canadian content. So yeah, it's a whole thing that I can't have a conversation with people really here in Canada because they've been so bought in.
Right. But yeah, so in general, guys, like the situation with Greenland is ratcheting up. We've got Trump speaking tomorrow at the World Economic Forum. No telling what he's going to say.
Is he going?
Yeah, he's supposed to be speaking there tomorrow.
Wow.
In the afternoon. So we'll see what he says. You know, hopefully he keeps it PG. Hopefully he doesn't start a war on stage.
Chris had a point here. I said, what do you guys think the Orange Man is going to say tomorrow at the World Economic Forum? Foot and mouth or deals?
Man, we'll see, dude. It's literally a wild card. I'm sure there's some like cow sheep bets going crazy about what he says and doesn't say.
Another thing I was thinking about too with the whole like TikTok China stuff is that if you go on the internet, like the internet loves China over the last 4 years. Like everyone is like, China is the best, China is perfect. And you got to think that was started from TikTok that then spread over to other platforms. Because when people learn something from one place, they just take it as gospel. So it's spread. Is the word like China apologists or whatever, where they think like China is like the perfect place. And so if you think about their approach to economics, their approach to social engineering or psyops would probably be equally patient. So what I would say is always like do your own research and from multiple angles to really get a better idea of how things actually are.
Yeah. When I was in Thailand, one of the things that I feel like came up at least once. Well, see, it's funny because I actually had this happen in both directions,
Okay,
where I've
hit me
had
with it.
people say, "Oh, it's like it's not what you guys think it is on TV in the US. Like it's not that bad in China."
Mhm.
But then I did talk to a guy who was Chinese, and there's certain things that we were talking about like the censorship stuff
Mhm.
that is very real. We were at a crypto meetup, and this dude was like, "Bro, like you can't like there's no such thing as like crypto in the normal fabric of society, right? Like obviously there's young people that are doing this stuff, right? Like
Mhm.
we're like that everywhere. Just like the person who was saying in the chat, my parents don't listen to this. And like for out there, it's like you're a criminal. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? If you're playing around with that stuff. So and he was like, the censorship is crazy, bro. Like if I want to do crypto stuff later, like it's really hard. I do all the VPNs and stuff, and they know how to do it, but it's like it's not the standard thing to be able to do. So on that side, he was like, "Yeah, that's what it is." But then I was talking to this guy. I was like considering going to China and living there, even potentially. And he was like, and I was like, "But I'm scared that like my YouTube channel, like they might like be like, you can't say this stuff about
Mhm.
us." He was like, "Don't worry, bro. Like they'll give you a warning. You know what I mean? Like they're not as bad as like you think, bro. Like they'll give you a warning. They'll let you know, and like, and the worst thing they'll do is they'll ask you to leave. You know what I mean? They
Oh,
won't
really?
like. That's what he was saying.
Okay.
Yeah." And I'm like, that's interesting. Like that
Yep.
makes me feel better, I
A little
guess.
bit, yeah. Yeah, see, we don't know anything. That's why everything that I say on the show is a hypothesis. Like, I don't really say anything of fact because, again, we're making our we're making assumptions across the board, right? So Nomad, I see Mariner said, or Nomadic Mariner said, the love for China has been on YouTube before it was on TikTok. Yeah,
Mm,
maybe. So
sure.
I didn't really pay attention to YouTube comment sections around this kind of content that much. So definitely possible. Uh, but yeah, it's super interesting to see, and that's why. But the surveillance stuff does also scare me. And that's also stuff that the more that China gets affiliated with Canada, you got to think that there's going to be more and more of that brought to our country too. You got a point?
Well, I was just talking to someone a week ago about, or a few days ago, about this idea, like, why are we so opposed to China, right? On the West or in general. And it's like a lot of this probably is propaganda. I mean, we have been told, right, to not like China from when we're, young. Like, what's this fear of China being the global leader?
Hmm.
Like, why is that such a bad thing? And they weren't saying that in that way. They're saying it as the devil's advocate. And I think it's a proper thing to think about. One of the things that I kind of came to in this conversation was that no matter whether or not we become a part of China or China wins this economic race or whatever, uh, the surveillance thing is still going to continue to happen because. So this is how I look at this. All right, this is. I guess I'm not going to China. Um,
That's awesome.
like their ability to have a command of their economy through some of these types of tools, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like eventually, like right now, it's maybe not like go to work, you know what I'm saying, or I'm gonna, debit your stuff, but they can, right? They can physically do that to you
Yes.
essentially now with the apparatus that's in place. But like no one can compete with that as an economy, right?
No.
Like you're gonna basically have to build the same type of an apparatus to be able to compete with China.
The
All right.
coordinated efforts of everything.
So yeah, so that's the one thing that I think about still is whether they are in charge or not, the whole world is pushing towards this reality of having more surveillance to keep people in line, to do
Yeah.
what they need to do for the economy.
This is also why it's so urgent that people get educated on these things so that you can demand things that make it more decentralized and more in the power of the person, the right, because like, there are technologies that exist that can hopefully make it at least a little less dystopian in terms of these things happening. So definitely become aware on. That's why I was so drawn to Cardano. I've said that so many times, but the fact that they were talking about all these systems and how. Go ahead, you got a point. Oh, okay. And with the China stuff, why do we think that it'd be so bad if China took over? Well, all the media from Hollywood, the bad guy was always like a Russian, or like
Hmm.
oftentimes there was like Chinese influence in terms of,
Spies or
yeah,
something.
spies was
Yeah,
always the thing. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And so yeah, how much of that is perception versus reality? Because if you watch media your whole life that like Russian people are just really cold and really mean, I don't know many Russian people, so I can't speak to this, but even if that was the complete opposite from reality, you would go into most of those interactions assuming that they'd be like that, and you'd create that situation, and then you'd leave with confirmation that you were right. Right? So that's the dangerous thing about when you're consuming media all the time.
So Brian Kale said something that I think is worth pointing out, because you also sent this really good tweet earlier today from Larry Ellison.
Mm.
So Brian Kale said, "Zero crime." You've got a point. You've got a point, Brian. Should we pull up the clip from Larry Ellison? Is that acceptable?
Go for it. Yeah, I'm sure everyone's seen this already. It's been it's gone viral a bunch.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, whenever like I send stuff now, I'll send like supporting texts and stuff, assuming I'm being like watched by the CIA or something. Like I'll be like, agent, you like this one? Like, obviously I'm trolling, but in case that they ever do and they try to like dox me, I'll be like, see, I knew you were doing it.
Completely body cameras. We completely redesigned body cameras. Our body cameras cost $70, and the camera's always on. You don't turn it on and off. And by the way you turn it on, you can't turn it on. I'm going to the bathroom. Oracle, I need 2 minutes to take a bathroom break, and we'll turn it off. The truth is, we don't really turn it off. I'm going to lunch with my friends. Oracle, I need an hour for privacy with lunch with my friends. God bless. We won't listen in unless there's a court order. But it's interesting. But we transmit the video back to headquarters. So headquarters and AI is constantly monitoring the video. The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on. And it's unimpeachable. The cars have cameras on them. These are the kind of systems the next generation systems we can build using AI. Body cam.
Crazy. And it's so insane to me how obviously these people are rolling with people just like them, because they say this shit with a straight face and like no reaction.
To a crowd of people.
Yeah. Like if Buddy said that to me on my couch, I'd be like, Larry, I don't trust you, pal. You know what I mean?
Like, sir, did you mean to say that out loud?
Yeah, like I think that's your internal monologue coming through here, pal. It's crazy. Like they don't even try to hide it. But one thing that's a funny story here, where someone's talking about who he's dating, right? And there's a very weird connection to the sports world with who he's dating. So his wife or girlfriend or whatever, apparently she went to Michigan, although there was some gray area in terms of if they could prove that she even went there. But Larry Ellison and his wife partnered with El Presidente, what the hell's his name again? Barstool guy.
Oh,
I can see his face.
Portnoy.
Dave Portnoy. Thank you. Yes, you got it.
Yeah.
And they went after one of the biggest recruits, Bryce Underwood, and they threw like millions and millions of dollars at him to come to Michigan. So like literally Larry Ellison basically flipped Bryce Underwood from LSU to Michigan.
Wow.
They're touching everything, bro. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Insane, bro. But
we are going to live in smart cities where we will be all controlled by UBI through crypto. Keith's talked about programmable money a lot. Everything will go digital so that everything is more controllable. 100%, right? But so it's probably going to happen regardless. So it's why it's super important to platform people that are creating options that take that power out of their hands to a degree, right? Like I think a lot of the reasons why Cardano isn't bigger and why Charles isn't bigger is partially because they suck at marketing. But the other part is because if they actually were to win, I don't think people have as much control as they want. Because it's built in a way from the very beginning to be decentralized in nature. That's why like everyone who it's so funny, it almost makes it feel like it's plants and bots where everyone will call Charles a dictator. He's the only one that built a system where he has like the least amount of dictatorial, whatever power. Dictatorial, I don't know the proper word. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's so funny how, yeah, like it's something that we got to become education. Because education is power, right? Like the same example that we said for the S. Williamson guy. Why is he able to do all this social engineering shit? It's because he knows so much more. right? We do have rights. They give us rights, but we don't know them, so we can't leverage them. And the thing I said to you, Keith, the other day, I was like, things are going to get more crazy here because the world isn't built for us to know all of our rights. It's not. The system that we currently have, all those things were written, or a lot of them were written because they assumed you'd never know. Right? And a right is only good if you know that it exists.
Yeah, that you'd never know, and that even if you had seen it, you wouldn't understand. Right? That was the clip that you sent that made it really cool, because you want to explain what you sent and how.
You go ahead.
Well, so it's basically Ben sent the clip of this lady who was talking to ChatGPT to interpret the tax code, and she found out that basically, like, she could claim her pet as a dependent.
Yeah, I'm not saying this is true or anything. It's just a video. It's a thought experiment.
Right. And it's just the idea, right, of having these types of tools in the hands of the everyday person to be their own lawyer, to defend themselves. And when you get to the point to where you might be able to do some of these things in real time, right, you might be able to, like Larry Ellison is saying, you might be able to hold people accountable, to the stuff that they're doing.
Dubai seems a lot like that too, where everything's being filmed and so no one does anything. And a lot of these guys who are really right-wing people, they love that and they brag about it, I guess, for their own safety. But for me, that sounds incredibly dystopian. Also, I don't have that many enemies. So it's go ahead.
And it doesn't have to be that way. Like, honestly, when you look at the rest of Asia, there's still low crime. Okay. But you don't have that. You might have harsher punishments. I think that's usually a part of the things is, like, people don't steal stuff when you lose your hand if you steal. but still, like, there's a collectivist society of like, this is my neighbor. Like, I'm not going to steal from my neighbor.
But that gets eroded when they do these crazy immigration policies, bringing away too many people too fast. Like, that's in Canada now. It's gotten to such a shit show where everyone's like, hey, we're all getting screwed. So screw it. I'm going to protect my own. I've been in our dollar store. We have like this one big chain in Canada called Dollarama. And I've been in there multiple times where people are just full on robbing it with zero shame.
Wow.
Bro, they looked me in the eye as they're like filling their backpack in the aisle, basically saying like, are you going to do anything? And I'm like, no, obviously not. Like over Dollarama, I'm not going to get stabbed for Dollarama. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's crazy where that's where things have gotten. And that's the tip of the iceberg. People are doing far more violent crimes too. But dictatorial is the right word. Thank you for being way smarter than me. JW.
Dollarama, is that your like Dollar General?
Yeah, it's everywhere, dude. And because the economy's gotten so bad here, Dollarama's basically become people's store for everything.
Wow.
So it's like people go there for sometimes some people even get their groceries there, clothes there.
It's so funny how we have stuff like that, like the Dollarama, the Dollar General, and would have never known that you guys had a Dollarama.
Oh, Dollarama's big. Dollarama's one of the biggest companies in all of Canada, which is also a symptom of the time.
That's wild, man. And then, the smart cities thing. So this is a little bit of a tangent, but one of my good friends, he's like he's not a hippie, but like he's hippie-ish, right? And so probably like 5 years ago when I'm like bitten by the crypto technology bug, I'm like talking to him and he's like, dude, like, I don't get that stuff, man. Like, I don't understand why you think it's like, why do you care so much or something? And I was like, bro, like, he's like, dude, like, all we need to do is just like take care of the earth and like recycle stuff and whatnot. And I'm like, Levi, like, this is how we're going to get to where that's the incentive. Because the problem is this, the incentives are off, right? As the oil companies, right? They're not incentivized to go away from oil, right? Like their incentive is to make more money and make profits. But when you start to change what the definition of money is, okay, then you can start to change the incentives around that process. And so when I think about the smart city, like the vision that always came to my mind in regards to that conversation of how do we create different incentives is like, imagine you're walking through the streets and you see a piece of trash on the ground. Well, your face is being identified. Whoever left it there, they're being identified, whatever. But if you were to go and like to take that and put it in the trash can, all of a sudden, like you get credits, like, you know what I'm saying? You just got some credits for cleaning up the city because the city coin, right, is being issued to you in real time to do that. And then so you've got a world now where like, okay, it's the incentive to also maybe not just throw that away, but put that in the right bin. You get more points if you put it in the right bin. That's actually for the recycling that item, is for.
Got it.
So anyways, the smart cities and all that stuff, I totally see that coming. And I just want to loop in that idea also of like when you change the definition of money, you can change incentives around what it is that you're actually doing in your society in general.
That's also why I think crypto will explode, because the more that you learn about the inevitable nature of mass surveillance, the more you become interested in crypto and Bitcoin. Right? That's one of the biggest stories there, is the fact that you can self-custody all your money and all these things. And I want to touch this point here too, where how many are stealing daily and not admitting with just lies. Don't be the change your heart and stop looking at others as the problem. We are the problem. Yeah, I believe we all are the problem. I'm just not willing to get stabbed for someone stealing something from Dollarama. Like, I agree with what you're saying completely. And it's also, I think that it's all about obsessing over what you actually can control, right? Like, if I escalate that situation and try to fight that person, what's being achieved? I maybe go to jail. I can no longer do this show over someone robbing $10. Like, I think that other people have made mistakes here that we need to improve. And so what my approach is that I try to be overly generous whenever given the opportunity to people who are struggling. So whenever I walk past a homeless person, if they ask for like something that I can buy them, I'll say yes every single time. Because I think that's a better way that I can help and be the change that we want to see, rather than trying to fight someone in Dollarama because they stole.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, don't fight the guy at the Dollarama. It's not your job.
Despite what Dollarama may want. And they have full-time security guards at the dollar store now, dude.
That's crazy.
That's absurd.
That was a big thing a few years ago here in the US too, and in California in particular, because what they were doing was like there was like some law where you could steal, basically. Like it was just like legal to steal, or you couldn't basically
California?
like prosecute.
Yeah, so I was there, dude.
Okay.
So all crime under $1,000 was basically free game.
Yes.
My car was involved in a hit and run while I was there for a surgery.
Wow.
I had to fucking crutch my way for like a kilometer to get to my car that somebody had hit from behind and drove off. Multiple people were filming the situation. I had literal video evidence. I take my cripple ass to the police station. I show them all of this proof. We have Homeboy's literal license plate.
Oh, wow.
And they say we can't pursue this. But since you came in to file a report, you got to fill it out. So I was forced to stay there for an hour as I'm crippled because somebody hit my car.
That's crazy, bro.
I was like, you are cooked.
Yeah, dude. Cali's a crazy place. I don't know how they've changed. I know that they were flip-flopping around that law and stuff, and I think it's not a thing anymore. I don't really know anymore. It happened in New York as well for a while. People were just like robbing stuff. But that's also tough. Like you're talking about like actual like damage and not just thievery and stuff. That's tough, bro.
It's crazy. And it was crazy watching the video of it, literally seeing my car get hit. Like, it was crazy. It was so weird. Because where I was going for physio was so far away from my car. So I literally had to crutch like a kilometer because there's not much parking in the area, right? So I'm on one leg with crutches and I get all the way there and I see all these notes on my car. And I'm like, oh no, what the heck happened? And so like I've already spent every dollar I have on this surgery. I've like bankrupted myself to get this surgery. And I come back to my car that was involved in a hit and run and I can't even pursue it.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Absurd.
And this was in what, San Fran? It sounds like a San Fran story.
Yeah, San Francisco was a eye-opening experience for me because I think like that's like the hotbed for all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. People were saying that they'll straight up just leave their windows down
rather than get broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was just like gonna happen, basically.
Craziest thing for me walking around there was that the wealth disparity in front of your face was so absurd, right? When you on the doorstep of someone who's like a deca millionaire was sitting a homeless person, right? And that house is still worth like $5 million. Crazy. And even I got an apartment to get my surgery while I was there on Airbnb. It's the most expensive place I've ever been in. I had a one-bedroom basement apartment, and it was like $5,000 US a month. And I wasn't even in San Fran. I had to drive my cripple ass. I actually got a really funny story. The only thing that I could afford was not even in San Fran. It was up the hill in a town called Brisbane or something. And so everything's on a goddamn hill in that place. I can't think of a worse place to make a surgical facility, but the guy who was the best was there, right? So I went there, and then to get to my own car once my sister left, I had to crutch down 20 stairs. Oh. Bro, I was playing roulette every day, but I survived.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
It was wild. It was wild.
Crutching down.
What other news do we have for these peeps?
Oh man, the last thing about the Greenland situation that's worth talking about briefly is that Francis Macron talked about bringing out the bazooka, on the U.S. if they kept on trying to come after Greenland. And I heard this from a friend, and I didn't know that this was an actual thing.
That's the exact word he used, bazooka?
Yeah, because that's what it's called.
Oh, okay.
It's a trade instrument. It's called the Anti-Coercion Instruments, the ACI, and they call it the trade bazooka.
Wow.
So he was like, I'm going to pull out the bazooka on you, bro. And I'm like, why would he say that to us? Like, don't play games, France. Like, you trying to get physical? But no, that's not what he was saying.
Okay.
So essentially, it's just like and it's actually kind of funny. This whole thing is funny. Like, the way that Europe talks is hilarious. There was one other thing I'll pull up. So, like, he's like, I'm going to pull out the bazooka on you, and it's a trade weapon. And it's not even just a trade weapon. It's just a thing that allows the EU to basically, like, take legal measures to combat someone who's trying to be coercive through trade. And so it's like, oh, you're going to summon the right to actually do something about what I'm doing. Like, that's awesome, bro. Like, come at me. Scott Besson came out, I think it was today, and he was saying, like, you don't want to escalate with the US. Like, straight up, like, gangster talk, bro. Gangster talk.
Did you see Carl's comment? Do you see Carl's comment?
No, what'd he say?
You go read it.
Okay, hold on.
Do you know the whole story behind that, the conspiracy theory with Macron's wife?
Let me see.
I've
heard that for sure. Dang, what did he say?
It's the second most recent. I'll throw it on the screen. Macron's wife has a bazooka.
Oh, I did not see that. I
don't know what that means, but interesting. Is she involved with their economic policy?
Yeah, Carl, I don't know what you mean, but no, I've seen that stuff for sure, bro. All right, so there was two things I was saying. Scott Besson saying don't escalate with us, and then and I was going to show this clip of this guy the other day. He was telling the U.S. to, like, he was like, let me put this in words that you'll understand, Donald Trump. And I'm just like, this is hilarious, guys. Like, Canadians are also a lot like this. So I'm coming at you as well with this one, just because you might as well catch a stray.
Why not? It's always fun.
So this was from the other day. Some parliament member or whatever out there said this.
Thank you. Urmează domnul Anders Vistisen.
Let me put this in words you might understand. Mr. President, fuck off.
and like, I get it, you're right, but just the way he said it, bro. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, if you're gonna say that, like, say it with your chest and, like, make sure that it's heard, bro.
Yeah.
Like, bro, don't be scared, bro. We're not gonna hurt you.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see all these things take place, and yeah, it's I think the world is ripe for innovation. I just don't know. We have to coordinate, get educated to try to make it happen in the best way possible. Because it's just so frustrating how all these people get to make decisions that impact so many people. They never have to look in the face, man. Like, that's so messed up. Like, that's the symptom of a broken system, is that you don't even have to see the trickle down effect of your decisions, and you're immune to any positive impact. Like, I understand, like, it's impossible to be that in the weeds, but yeah.
No, for sure, bro. Somebody said you guys are narrating the news like a football game. I love it.
That's good, man. I do that whenever I'm watching anything. My girlfriend hates watching anything with me because I'll always be like, he said this because of this, this, and this, and this, which interconnects to this. And she's like, man, I just want to watch this. Yeah, it's crazy. He also, I did see that Buddy was wearing sunglasses inside. I wear my sunglasses at night so I can.
Who's
Macron?
Oh, okay.
When he's talking, he's wearing sunglasses.
I didn't even think about it. Damn, that's funny.
For something this formal, that's a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, and just watching him talk in his French accent, guys, I'm sorry, but that stuff makes me laugh, bro. Like,
the French accents?
Yeah, just French accent speaking in English, and he's like the president too, but it's like the same thickness of any French accent.
Yeah, it's
like, you might as well just use a translator, bro. Like, it just doesn't sound that persuasive.
We have a fair amount of French people in Canada, from obviously Quebec, French Canada.
Fair. Yeah,
and it's definitely an interesting dynamic we have here in our country. I will say that. But the French accent's definitely interesting, and we had to learn French in school, so I know very little French, but I do know some.
Yeah, yeah, you guys have like it's integrated into your culture, right? And I don't know how much of it's like French too. Like obviously there's the language French,
Mhm.
but are these people French?
I think if you go back far enough, probably a lot of the ones that were in Quebec would have to have been.
Fair.
And so they actually tried to separate from the country before, and it got pretty dang close.
Okay.
And it
Okay.
didn't actually end up happening, but there's a real threat that happens in Alberta. There's a very real threat.
And like and when I said that, the thing that I really meant was like, do these people think that they're superior to the rest of Canada?
You bet your ass, brother. Dude, they're the most insufferable people. Like, of course, I'm sure there are some exceptions, but there's not many. When I went there the one time, they'll basically try to. They know English. They all know English. But when you go there, they make you speak French, and then they'll like act like they don't understand what you're saying when you speak English first. They'll make you suffer through speaking French, and then at the end they'll like reply in English as like an "fu."
Wow.
Like, how do you operate like that? I've always wondered. Is like, are they all like that to each other? Because that sounds miserable. I know obviously they're speaking the same language, but I mean like being that big of a dick.
Yeah, yeah, guys, I have no problem. We have no problems with French people. We're just, talking about
I
that.
kind of do. They're assholes, dude. Am I saying every French person's an asshole? No, but if everyone is saying something, I don't think it's like just out of thin air. I also have personal firsthand anecdotal experiences, so I'm not saying it's universal.
Yeah, that's the only reason I was willing to even go there about it is because like, I've been traveling a little bit for the past couple of years, and it's just one of those things. It's just always there.
Yeah, it's a stereotype for sure. And there's also a ton of French people that I've met that are super nice. Like one of the nicest guys I've ever met, super random connection. I was in Jacksonville and there was this other guy who happened to be from Canada, also living in Jacksonville at the time. And he was from French Canada. And he was like one of the nicest dudes I've ever met. So it's definitely a case by case thing. But I think a lot of them are not so nice.
We love all people, guys. We do. I'll say it for Ben. So this one was just random but funny as well. This guy, I honestly believe that Trump I think he's a comedian first. Like I think that's actually what he's the best at.
Totally.
So let me play this clip for you guys real quick about the Greenland situation. It's old now.
But Greenland should make the deal because Greenland does not want to see Russia or China take over. They don't go there. It's very far away from Greenland. And Greenland, basically, their defense is 2 dog sleds. Do you know that? You know what their defense is? 2 dog sleds.
I will say the numbers they're reporting that are being sent to this place, it does sound comical. They're like, they sent 4 soldiers. I'm like, wait, what? I thought this was a country.
Yeah, bro. I think Germany's said 20 literal 20 soldiers. And it was supposed to be symbolic anyways, right? Like we're here to support kind of thing, but it's all crazy, bro. But that's the thing when Scott Bessent's coming out and he's saying literally like you don't want to escalate with the United States. It's like, well, I guess you're not typically supposed to say that out loud, but yeah,
It's the truth. Yeah,
for sure.
It's definitely been such a crazy thing to see a world power that's like too honest.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I mean?
crazy, bro.
And
That's crazy.
coding with Gigi, I could not do a episode in French. My dad is fluent in French, and so too are my grandparents because they lived there for a little bit. And so, like, they would always speak French when they didn't want me to know what they were saying. And then I learned enough French where they would like try to go like higher brow French so that I wouldn't understand what they were saying. And then they were successful again. But yeah, the whole Trump stuff is he's TV, man. And I'm seeing so many things. Like I'm really excited to get Simon Dixon on here because he talks so much about his opinions on what the optics are versus the true intentions underneath them. And I would love to pick his brain on not only the things that he believes, because he's pretty transparent about those, but why he believes them. So I really, really want. So Simon's another person we've been trying to go after. I've messaged him in a bunch of places, and I've been getting some hits on my recent outreach. So I think it'll happen soon. But if you guys can ever help us by commenting on their stuff, replying to their tweets, whatever, just saying to come on our stuff, it's super helpful. Pause. To come on our show.
It was not Charlie Cruz White. That was Caroline Levitt, the press secretary. And yes, she was back there smiling, bro. She couldn't hold that in from him saying that.
Have you seen the memes of the girl you just said before, Kirk? Have you seen those memes? They're so funny, dude.
No, what are they saying?
Oh man, okay, let me try to find them. What's her first name again?
Erica.
Yeah. Bro, they're so funny. It's like how a normal wife grieves, and then Erica Kirk doing like.
Candace Owens, bro. Do you follow any of the stuff that she's been doing just from a social media perspective?
You can't ignore it from the sheer volume of people watching.
Holy moly, dude. I didn't know because one of my friends, he watches that stuff. And I'm like, he's telling me, he's like, dude, she's got 150,000 people in their streams, like 250,000 people.
Absurd.
In the stream at one time.
Genuinely absurd.
I'm like, that's crazy. I don't know if I'll ever be willing to go there to get streamers, but wild what she's been able to accomplish. She literally gets over 1 million per stream.
I'm trying to find these videos of Erica Kirk. Like, they're really funny. They're just like edits of her like coming out the stage. It's really funny. I can't find it, but
don't worry, because I've got a topic I can use while you look. Someone said, please talk about the Japanese bond yields.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a real thing. The 30-year bond yields have been rising like crazy, I guess, over the past little bit here. We're talking about it's now sitting at 3.875%, which is a 26 basis point rise. And, this is a big problem because of the Japanese yen carry trade, right? Everyone's borrowed a bunch of yen at cheap money, at literally zero. And they've gone out and taken that money and they've gone and bought American and other assets with that money. Now, when the yield that they need to pay back their loans goes up relative to the amount of the money that they're making from whatever they bought, okay, well, they need to basically buy that yen back as fast as they can, pay back these loans so that they don't end up in a situation where they've just gone into a crazy negative position. And the problem with that is that can also exacerbate the problem and cause, well, for instance, markets to crash if you were to pull all your money out the markets to go back and buy these loans. Problem with that is that, to buy the yen back. The problem with that is that when you're buying the yen back at scale, what is that going to do to the value of the yen? It's going to push the value of the yen up. Right. So while you're trying to get yen, the value of the yen is going up, and the ability for you to pay back your loans is getting worse and worse. And the yield is rising at the same time. And so you end up in a situation where things could absolutely blow up from this. There's a ton of leverage in the system that's based upon this trade. So everyone's watching this, and so it's ugly.
So you think this could be a potential catalyst for like a global collapse?
So there's a lot of like dark markets here, right? Because the people that are doing this are hedge funds, right? So we really don't 100% know like how much leverage is really built up in this trade. There's a lot of estimates of like 50. There's a lot of estimates of there being in the trillions of dollars that's kind of like locked up into this trade. And the thing is that what we've seen so far in the United States is that when we get anything that blows up, what happens? The Fed's going to step in and inject liquidity to stop it from being an actual problem. So we do have to keep that in mind. We saw like a couple of weeks ago with the silver situation, it felt like some bank like went under in the background. I think that was all a rumor. We never really had any confirmations of that, but we did see that the Fed injected liquidity into the system. You know what I'm saying, around that same exact time. So we just, we can expect that if any bank goes under, they'll stop gap. They'll fill
they'll bail it out. Yeah. And that's also, I think there's so many things that could lead to a situation where you have to print. And so I'm just like, I think it's a matter of which one forces their hand first. I don't think it's an if. I think it's a when and which one. Yeah. And I also think that we have a guest coming on who has one of his most popular videos about the financial reset. And so we'll discuss this in depth with him quite a bit. He's coming on in a few weeks. So that'll be super interesting. I'd love to pick his brain on it. But yeah, I think there's going to be something, I've been saying this for a while, something unprecedented. I know it's a word that we all hate from 2020, but I do think that we're entering the era of unprecedented. You know what I'm saying? Like that's becoming a recurring theme.
Oh, for sure, man. For sure, bro. It's real life. We can't ignore the fact that this year, I'm not going to be surprised by this year looking like 2020, bro. Like I'm just going to say it now. Like it's something crazy is about to happen.
I agree, because they have to, right? It's also a symptom of the declining system where the times in which they need to inject a ton of liquidity to solve a crisis. It's just getting shorter and shorter and shorter between them, right? Between 08 and 2020, they had 12 years. Now, if they do it now, 6 years. Then when's the next thing? 3 years, right? So we'll see.
Yeah, man. That's all I got for today, guys.
That's it. Buddy's there in where's this meeting taking place? Davos.
Davos, that's right.
Our boy Brian Armstrong.
Oh yeah,
champion for Vanguard, BlackRock.
Is that what we're calling him out now?
No, I'm not. I'm feeding into what the people in the chat say, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's one of those things where these guys have so much power when you get to the top of everything that there's no world where these things could happen where those characters couldn't be involved. Because who else is at the table? Like, it's an inevitable reality, unfortunately. So he's pushing for this stuff. They're trying to push forward, and he talked about how this will democratize the access to wealth, and we call it like wealth for all kind of thing. Do you want to play the video that I have there? It's in the sheet.
Oh, got you. Wealth for all. Wealth for all.
It's at the bottom, right before memes.
Cool. This is it, right?
Yeah, I think I got the wrong thing. Yeah, okay. I grabbed the wrong thing. Sorry about that. It's basically just a video of him saying, yeah, like wealth for all. Sorry, I screwed that up. I grabbed the wrong tweet. It's not that important. It's just him saying how this is super good for the end consumer. The banks don't want it because they don't want competition. At the end of the day, everyone wins when there's more competition, which from a logic point of view, it's hard to disagree with, but we'll see.
Could it have been this one right here?
I don't think it is, but he's saying the same shit every single time. Right, like once they get their talking points down, they just say it in different places.
Yeah. Imagine being the CEO of a company like that, man. That's a crazy gig for sure.
Yeah, because you're balancing so many forces that you really don't have much control over. Like you're playing with a beast all the time. So I do also have sympathy for all of them because like everyone always is like, oh, they were chosen by the deep state. And it's like, okay, maybe that's the case. But I'm sure there are people that get through and were really just innovators. And it's hard for people to think like, oh, someone could be that much different than most people, but that does happen from time to time. And then you break through, you're ultra successful, and then this is the world you got to operate in.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, right? Like, yeah, you're playing with different forces. You're a publicly traded company.
That's
right?
also a big thing too.
Like BlackRock is on your board. You know what I mean? Like eventually. So.
No, I have no desire for a publicly traded company because you're opening yourself up to so many short-minded people. Like in terms of like their lens of what success is such a short time window. So it's it's definitely the whole gambling nature of everything.
That's on the like the system's forces side, but then there's also the fact that just like anyone, you know what I'm saying,
become part of it
and be a part of your journey, bro. Like
crazy. Yeah. And I think that a lot of companies that are currently publicly traded that might actually end up being their demise is because there's too much bureaucracy, too many people to ask before the market has already changed. Do rich people yeah. And then can you show the AI meme that I had on there, the AI inspo for memes?
Let me pull that up,
bro. People are eating up this AI generated content, even when they know it's AI generated, man. This is like this. I see all my friends liked this. I'm like, come on, boys.
You had enough. You looked in mine to check if I had more than you. That difference says everything. We are not the same.
What to play from the beginning.
Attention to what people measure. I looked in your cup to see if you had enough. You looked in mine to check if I had more than you. That difference says everything.
So
okay.
It's a very gray area right now in marketing, and I really haven't used any AI video because I've been struggling with it a lot, like ethically. But I've been seeing a lot of people really preying on people's inside like thoughts, internal monologue, their fears with these AI videos. Like I'm seeing a ton of spammy pages where it'll pretend like they're a doctor or a vet at a conference. And then they'll be saying things that are so generic, but speaking to, say, a cat owner or a dog owner about like a universal experience, but making it something more personal to then later sell a product. To me, that's pretty deceptive if you're making people think that it's a doctor that doesn't even exist.
Yeah. No, that's crazy for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I don't play around with it. And it's crazy how like they did the thing where for ChatGPT, their thing, what was it called again? I already forgot what it's called. I never actually used it. to generate
Sora
the images,
2?
Sora or whatever. Yeah, it was like invite only, and I'm like, oh, I gotta like I might as well download it. You know what I mean? It's invite only, but I'm like, do I actually want to use this? Like, no, I don't, and so I haven't. But
It's. I will say this, man. I tweeted this the other day where I feel like they gave us AI video because we stopped caring about celebrities.
I saw you tweet that, and I was like, what?
If everything is like, if anyone can make everything, we'd rather watch everything, including celebrities. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when you know everything is fake, you either want to watch it with your favorite celebrity or your best friend, right? But now with where we got in terms of society and these social platforms is that, yes, we watched like say Stranger Things on Netflix, but we actually cared more about the person who was commenting on it on TikTok. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, whereas before when they had these like puppets of people who were celebrities, their endorsement meant so much.
Right.
Whereas now it's gone farther and farther down the risk curve if you're an elitist, right?
Right.
And so now it's like, okay, how do you take that back? You take away the opportunity for the everyday person to really break through, and then you can't compete with Michael Jackson.
Fair. Yeah.
The gorilla videos are funny AF though. They're all funny. They're all objectively entertaining. That's what makes it so scary. The reason why I know there has to be a deeper reasoning for us having this technology is because it's so insane that this is legal. Like this should be a global emergency.
That's true, dude.
Like, really and it's just not. Like really clearly there's an agenda here.
It should be a real problem, and people are not that dumb, right? Like, come on, bro. Like, how is this not, like you said, an emergency? Think about it. I remember this was probably a few years. It was like 2020 probably when like the first like sorts of like deep fake videos were coming out about like, you know, Trump saying some crazy stuff. Yeah. And, you know, that's a very sensitive time. You know what I mean? Totally. Like you can't have crazy messages going around at that time. And I'm just like, yo, like we're stepping into a whole new world. Dude, someone commented on one of our posts about this Erdogan guy. I don't know if I shared this with you, but I went down this rabbit hole of how there was like this, there's this creator on YouTube, Dr. Erdogan or something, bro. And it's like this whole conspiracy about, is this guy even real? But it was like, he was like putting out this conspiracy stuff of it was like, this is like the plan that the US government has. This is the, he was like, I worked for the CIA and like did all these different things, but it looks so legit.
Really?
But the thing is people were like, this dude doesn't move. And he talks to the camera for like 3 hours at a time. And he just like barely moves. And this, like, there's a bunch of videos about like going deep down the rabbit hole of like, is this person real or not?
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to think that we might have that going on, period.
Totally, right? And I think that's also why there may be opportunities for new social platforms to emerge that deal with that problem better. Because it doesn't seem like these platforms are all that urgent in like, or they care, because I guess the demand is proving that people want it. What about AI Asian guy? You talked about that guy before, right?
Yeah. There's that guy, because he came up on my like people who are watching him from my channel. He's getting hundreds of thousands of views. I mean, that one's pretty obviously AI.
Yes. For now.
But people are still watching it, right? That's one thing. And people are like, this is AI, and I don't care, and I love it.
the new model for Kling that just came out, it's one of the platforms. I'm seeing it because of direct to like B2C apps, so business to consumer apps. I'm involved in the Twitter communities in that space, and so they're all obsessed with the marketing, right? And one thing that they said was crazy is that now anybody can become, like, let's say, a hot girl with Kling. So basically what you do is it's you talking, but they'll change what you look like and match it nearly perfectly so that you look like this very attractive woman. It's like, that's crazy. Think about how many people are currently only making money because they're really hot. Right? And a lot of them are probably not the easiest to deal with because they probably have a really big ego. And so the brand is only working with them out of necessity. Now when Kling exists and I can go pretend like I'm a baddie, you know what I mean? And film myself doing some stuff. Why would I pay them? Right. So I get why people are doing it. I've just struggled with it ethically quite a bit. Like I could already have made way more money from my apps if I had been using this stuff a lot. Almost every day I battle with it. Because I'm like, I could do this tomorrow, and because of what I know about marketing, I could make a ton of money. But I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
But it feels like, am I? I don't know. I battled with this a lot.
Yeah, I mean, dude, if I were you, I'd go for it.
I don't know, man. Yeah, maybe I'm just too caught up on the principles of it all, but yeah.
Because I mean, I've seen in the e-commerce space too, this is kind of like the route that people are taking to get an advantage over their competition. It's because, I mean, the amount of production cost that it takes to make a good ad is crazy. But if you can make an ad with an AI and it's like legit, like the person holding the stuff in their hand and using it, it's like, bro, like that's unbeatable.
Dude, it can
for
be
free.
you, right? And so I know the ads that needed to be made for a long period of time, but I'd have to deal with someone because for some of my apps, I'm not the ideal user of the app. So my ability to talk about it is far less significant when people can see someone who looks like them talking about it. It's impossible to over exaggerate the importance of that. And so now that this is in my hands or potentially in my hands, it's like, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, and like that's the meta of like how someone like you can actually take huge advantage of this stuff, right? Like,
here's the internal struggle is like these two people are playing the role of like angel and devil on your shoulder. Revel says, get that bag, brother. Ethics are a self-nerf. And then Noxo says, please have principles. Please. The duality of man in practice.
Yeah, dude. It's just like, I mean, at some point you won't be able to make that decision, bro. To be honest, it's going to be, the competition is just too strong.
Yeah. No, you're probably right. Oh, there goes Keith Camera. But I am working on some things that are, because of that, I was trying to think of, okay, if everyone's going to do that, what are other things that I can do to still win in the interim without doing that? And I found some ways that we'll probably talk about in some coming episodes that if it comes to fruition. But are you still there, Keith?
I'm here. I'm coming back. Don't worry.
Cool. Well, we'll open up the chat then for the last little bit. We've already been going for over 2 hours, guys. So we'll make this thing quick. So any question that y'all have or anything that you want to go down, we appreciate all you guys being here so much. And if any of you guys have yet to turn on notifications, I'm going to do my shameless plug of the day times like this is, what is it, like the fourth or fifth one? Just to remind you to turn on notifications, because we'll only ever send you notification when we're going live on this channel. And if you guys do prefer shorter clips, we do have a clips channel. I haven't spent like as much time in there as I need because we've been so strapped across other things, but that will become more of a priority. And it's also linked on our page too. So make sure you subscribe, turn on the notifications. And if you prefer bite-sized bits, we also do have a clips channel too. It's just memes and markets clips.
Yeah, pull up the clips. I'm also going to start posting some shorts over there, guys. We're going to start getting some shorts going and keeping people updated and having some fun.
Yes.
And then hit the like button. There's too many people in here that have not hit the like button. It won't take you much, and it's free. Just tap it gently.
Yeah, it's already tons of fun in here. The more that we grow, the more fun that it will become, because there's things that we're not seeing, right? There's so many opportunities for new stuff and new perspectives and new people. So yeah, liking is completely free, helps us out a ton. What do you got there?
I know it's a lot of CTAs at one time, guys.
I know we're spamming.
but listen, the Spotify has gotten no new reviews since we asked.
Because they got to listen to it first. Yeah, so Spotify, for this very purpose, they make you consume a little bit. I think it's only like 5 minutes or so. So do that. Also, we do treat those episodes, the audio with it, with AI. So if you ever have an issue where you're like, I wish it sounded differently, or when you're watching this after and it's not live, you can watch them there after, usually up a few hours after, and they're all going to be treated with AI. And yes, Coding with GG, we do have a newsletter. It's memesandmarkets.com. That is currently free, so you can go take advantage of that. We've been posting each weekly on there, and so we're going to continue to do that. And yeah, some good stuff. I talked about basically this episode before. I talked about the partnership between Bitmine and MrBeast 4 days ago. So you could have already known about all this stuff.
And gotten Ben's actual thought out, really well thought out ideas around this. What else was I going to say? Oof. So yeah, we appreciate you guys so very much. This is awesome.
Totally.
Like we're legitimately making friends, through the show. I just want to make that clear. Like, you guys are our friend. This is our community. You know what I mean? Like, this is a major vibe to us. We love this. This
It's
is so
so
cool.
yeah, because we get to shoot the shit. Like, that's the best. That's honestly some of the best that you can correlate, like the decline of society with how much genuine shit was being talked. Like, not like topic point. It was genuine discourse, right? That's in very short supply, because what these things have done, whether deliberately or unintentionally, is the stakes of discourse is so high because everyone's so politicized. So if you say anything, you could be having the best conversation, but if you say someone's trigger word, it's done.
Yep.
Which is silly.
Yep. Yeah, everybody, let's relax a little bit, have some good times, talk about the tough stuff, but
Seriously,
have it be fun,
don't get so offended if someone disagrees with you. That's another flawed thing that's still currently in our programming, where we feel like we have the need to be right because we've always been put through tests where if you're not right, you basically get penalized for it. Life is not a test. Kanye, like him, love him, hate him, whatever your opinions are on him. One bar that he did drop in a video was, when you treat life like a test, you're always going to be on edge. And I'm butchering the specifics of it, but he's like, when you think through school, when were you the most stressed? Is right before a test because you felt like you had to be right. If you move through life thinking you always have to be right, your whole life is a test and you're never actually alive.
Love it, man.
So that's it, man. Well, if y'all don't have anything else, we can wrap up whenever you want, Keith.
I guess we can wrap it up. But listen, guys, so grateful. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, this was probably, the topic was the most memes and marketsy kind of topic that we could have possibly had.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
When I post the Substack, I used both the memes tag and the markets tag. Yeah, going crazy on it. But yeah, honestly, once again, we really appreciate all y'all being here. We're going to be live again on Thursday. So we're back to our normally scheduled programming of Tuesdays and Thursdays. You definitely want to make sure you're subscribed to future episodes, guys. We've locked up some amazing guests. And after we have these guests, you got a point?
Crazy guests.
Okay. I agree. I totally agree. And after we have these episodes, the floodgates will open in terms of who we have access to. And that's what I'm super excited for. And you guys are all part of that. And so all that you do in terms of spreading the message is also amplifying that happening, right? That's because the more that I have leverage when I go find these people on the internet to reach out to, and I've gotten good at this stuff. I can always find someone's email and get to them. So as long as it's a no-brainer to say yes, they will more and more. So we appreciate all y'all so much.
It's gonna be awesome. Like, just the conversations that we're gonna be able to have with these people, guys. Like, we're gonna bring the chill vibes, but asking the hard questions, like doing the stuff that we all want to hear. We all want to hear the truth of how some of this stuff goes down and whatnot. Totally. So yeah,
we appreciate y'all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your. It's Tuesday, right? Yeah, I think so. And I will see all of you guys on Thursday. Thank you so much, and peace.
Peace.
All right. Whoops. There we go. Get out of there.